1-0. And the funny part about that was that really 5 seconds? I always have fun doing that. So we're going to count this down. It's only going to be 5 seconds. 5, 4. Yes. Good morning to the people everywhere. Yes, we are here. Welcome to the AP Morning Show. And I want to say hello to all my people on the FB Live, the YouTubes, and to my family here in Clubhouse. I'm excited because, well, I'm always excited. Let's just say it for what it is. I'm always excited. But how can you blame me when I have such good people around me every single day that I get a chance to say, hey, to? And also to check in with them to talk about topics like emotional intelligence and love and patience and empathy and kindness and compassion and equanimity, and the list goes on and on and on. As well as things like meditation and mindfulness. How can you blame me? I got such good people with me every single day. And so today is no different. I have my friends here with me in Clubhouse. Eunice and Karen, and also you'll also see some other family coming through in a few. In fact, that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to, as we say here, ping some of our friends. And for those that are here with me, what that means is the same as if you're tagging someone you think that they would appreciate or enjoy the conversation, and so you're inviting them in. This is Clubhouse. If you've never seen it, it's an all audio chat app. We're just on the phone hanging out, having good conversations, but it's some of the best connections that you will ever experience in life because it's based strategically around interest in the form of conversations. Like this conversation is about accountability and all the other things that I mentioned. So I'm going to holler at a few of my friends and bring them on in the conversation. And so today, this morning, I hope that your day is going well. I'm looking forward to reading a few thoughts in order for us to get started and on our way. And today is Friday. I celebrate every day. And of course, celebrating Friday is one of those things that's it's really fun to do. The reason why is because of the fact that for most of us, at least, Friday is the breath of fresh air. For some of us, it's the first breath of fresh air we've had in a week. For some of us, it is the next breath of fresh air. Like me, I'm one of those people. Every day for me is a sequel to the last. Yes. And so, what I know is that no matter how you feel about it, no matter how it stacks up for you, today is a new day, and I want to say good morning to you. And so as we stand here in accountability, as you know, we're going to get into some things with our emotionally intelligent asses. The thing I like about this environment the most is that it's based on interests. It's based on other people having similar thoughts and ideas as you, and for them to come through to your conversation or you to their conversation. I like the fact that there's no video, there's no chat. I like the fact that there's no pictures or none of that. I like the fact that it's basically three-way calling, or the party line, or as my cousin pointed out the other day, the chat line. It's passive. So it allows you to live in the flow of life without ever having to stop life in order to grow and learn and meet some amazing people. Whether it's that you have a message, whether it's that you have a thought, whether it's that you want to hear other people's thoughts, because that's what's most beneficial to you. It removes the 6 degrees of separation, people. It removes the 6 degrees of separation. And so I'm proud to be a part of this part of history. I'm proud to be not only in this moment, but in all the moments that I've intentionally created since December 15th, 2020, inside this environment, in this app called Clubhouse. And so, with that, I want to read a few thoughts, and we're going to jump into this beautiful conversation. And so these thoughts come from my original writings, which you will see very shortly right on your home screen in the form of my upcoming app called the 5M Experience. Music, movement, mindfulness, meditation, and mantra coming soon to a home screen near you. So here's a few thoughts. It's not what you have, it's how you use it. To a good degree, many of us are working with the same tools and resources. Some of us are just being a bit more intentional and productive than others. My goal is to help everyone to reach the highest level of productivity and intentionality as possible, to mold and shape our lives into monumental, historic legacies. You can always holler at me, chop it up further about that. Here's one. This is from my Ponderings collection. I've never thought about it before, but I'm starting to feel that saying, quote unquote, having the balls to do something is an interestingly unintentional downplay, or maybe intentional, to female strength and genitalia. If not, please explain to me how not. And my gift has always been that I'm naturally a safe space for the vulnerable. I've been that way since I was 15. Real talk. 15. I remember it like it was yesterday, sitting in Mr. Ring's class, my 10th grade English teacher, who was the first teacher that I had in school where emotional intelligence was very visible, even though I didn't know what to call it. I just knew what it felt like. What it felt like was a teacher who wasn't just there just to preach at us, but to check in with us and check in with our emotions. A person that was there not to be a dictator, but someone who was to be a curator or an investigator. He would check in. He would also allow us to be ourselves and bring about our own expressions. And so where that found me in my expression was that one day, after finishing my English assignment and being able to have some free time, I found myself using that free time for not only some me time, but for some time with my other fellow human beings. What I would do is I would bring my tape recorder to school. And my tape recorder, at that time, I was a rapper, I was a positive MC, and my group was putting out music. So certain teachers started to really support our music. The school in general did, because we were positive influences. So Mr. Ring let me bring in my tape recorder. He let me bring in my tapes and play music in the classroom while I just sat and talked to people and let them vent, check in with them, find out about how they're doing, and most of all, be a support in any way that I could. I was 15 years old thinking about psychotherapy before being in school for it at 38. Real talk. So that's who I am. I've always been that way. And first credit always goes to Mom for all that she provided me with. Here's one more thing. We used to live in a world where, to some degree, the only way you prospered was to hoard information, not share your knowledge or valuable info or share your success secrets. I'm glad we no longer live in that world because now it matches my freely giving personality. And funny thing is, when I wrote this, I was writing something that was very true about life, but was even more true about the life in my mind, the headspace, my particular reality, which is that no matter what kind of world we live in, I'm always that kind of person to give freely, because what I know is that to give is to receive. And so on that tip, I want to once again refresh this experience and say good morning to my family. Good morning to Karen, Marcy, Caesar, Tanisha, Eunice, and everybody here that's hanging out with me on FB, Facebook Live, and YouTube. And so I'm going to say what's up to my cousin, Caesar. See what's going on with him this morning. Cuzzo, what's going on, family? Cuzzo. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
You got. I can hear you now, bro. Your bill actually finally just got paid, so they just cut it on right when you came on your Wi-Fi. They cut it back on.
Good morning, and good morning.
What up, son? Good morning and good morning and good morning.
Juicy fruit.
Yo, how do people do that?
I have a quote that I want to read. Something that I wrote when I wrote it. And it says, juicy fruit is foundation of having the opportunity to have winter fresh. And with that foundation, you should try it so that you could have bubbleliciousness. And that's it.
God damn. Yo, that's
the bottom line is,
right.
Even though you brush your teeth in the morning,
right,
don't forget to get your ass a pack of gum.
Hey, yo, that's some wisdom right there, bro. Yo,
Tanisha gonna kill me, yo. Tanisha gonna kill me, son.
Oh my God, yo said juicy fruit. I can't even remember. Like that scrambled my brain so much, bro. I was like trying to put together the keys.
Don't need try.
Right, you said don't need try. Like bust a blood vessel trying to understand that shit.
But yo, I'm good this morning, but I'm really disappointed, bro. I'm really disappointed.
Wow, bro, why are you disappointed, man?
Because I had such high hopes for the Coming to America 2 movie, man. It just did not meet.
Bro, don't tell me this, bro.
Yeah, yo. Yeah,
no, tell me that, bro. Fucking hard, yo.
Yo, so many people. I started watching it. 6 o'clock this morning, bro.
6 o'clock this morning?
Because it's on Prime, it's on Prime. And it's just...
man. Hey, yo, okay. Oh my God, yo. Why? Oh my God, yo. Okay, look, bro. I have literally been saying this. I tell you what, bro. I'll wait till you stop urinating, and then I'm fucking with you. Yo, that fish tank is so funny, yo.
That's my fish
tank is so funny. You don't sound like you being like, right? Yo, let me tell you something, bro. When I tell you this conversation right here, what you telling me right now, son? Yo, I have been talking about this for the last 2 months, right? In this experience on this morning show, even I've been like, okay, I don't know how to feel about Coming to America 2, and here's why. And this I know you're gonna vibe with me on this because the same thing works with music. It's like there's some artistic expressions that if you decide to do like a follow-up or a remix or a part 2, you run that risk of like if it doesn't completely smash the first one, you know, it's like you shouldn't even touched it. Like you should have just left it alone. And I wasn't sure which side this was gonna fall on, right? Because you gotta go, you know, I can't knock a dream. I can't knock a dream, right? But it's just like,
but yo, I kept saying it, right? I was like, man, we talking about what 20, 25 years later,
right?
You want to do this movie? The first one was a classic, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Classic.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? And I'm now watching this new joint, and I'm like, yeah. Yo,
oh man,
those pivotal moments I'm not getting.
Right.
I'm not getting.
But you know what? I think this is why I was so like not sure about it, right? Because the tough part is when something is so good in life, like Coming to America 1, you can't help but like in some way be looking for that same thing from the first one. When the truth is, no matter what it is in life, you ain't gonna get that. There's always an acceptance of a new expression, but still you can't help it. That's why I was like, yo.
But not even that, bro, because we do realize that the people over time, they age,
right.
You know, some people is gone, you know, stuff like that. Right. But instead of looking for the same thing,
right,
you want to at least get the same feel.
The same feel, right.
And right now, bruh.
Wow. And you wanted it, like you tried to give it a chance. You tried to like.
Bro, I stay open-minded. I stay, you know what I mean? I'm just like, yo, I'm man.
Right.
I'm so disappointed.
Bruh,
man.
let me tell you. And like I said,
everybody's still gonna watch it. And
for sure.
I still want everybody to watch it.
For sure.
You know, to support the guy, you know, and everything. But bruh, man, like it's not like I'm gonna watch it again later.
Right.
Like if somebody be like, you know, Ray, watch Coming to America, I'm gonna be like,
Scratching the back, like, like you just never say anything. You should be like, okay, yo, let me tell you though. This is why. Okay, so I'm looking forward to watching it. Just especially and now with this information, I'm more looking forward to watching it. Not to like feel the same way, but to like have already felt that way through you. Because bro, I feel your vibe right now. You like, so I'm looking forward to watching it to try to, you know, sit down and really appreciate it. But here's the funny thing, bro, because it really makes me think about what we know in music. It's almost like it's the same kind of thing. Like if you take a Stevie Wonder song and if you do, I mean, I guess the difference in here is you got the same people because you can capitalize on your own thing. But it's like if you got a classic thing, man, you just run that risk, bro. It's either going to be like amazing where you just like, wow, you know, and you appreciate it for what it is, or where you just like,
Yeah, man, it's like when I say that feeling, bro, it's like if you can remember when Coming to America Part 1, when they was like, the royal penis is clean, Your Highness. but right before that part came,
right,
you heard the music, boom, 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 boom.
Right.
I'm like, yo, they put everything into every moment of that movie.
Right.
This one is more so like, you got that new you got that little Yachty song, play that shit. It's like, God, why you do that to me?
Oh man, I feel you, bro. I tell you, that's why I said this is a hilarious moment for me and an emotional moment and everything. Because I'm telling you, I've been talking about this for the last couple months, and so for you to come on and be like and give me that first, now I'm interested. For everybody else that's seen it, how they feel. I'm interested to see how different people feel. But man, yeah.
Can you open up the thing real quick and just ask people what they think about what I just said?
Well, I tell you what, here's what we do. If there's anybody who's seen the movie too, and you want to jump up real quick, right before we go into we're about to go into our BPS spotlight with Brittany Nicole real soon.
I don't think nobody's seen it yet, bro. I think I'm the first one.
But if anybody has seen it, you could real quick, 30 seconds if you want to jump up, or you're going to see it. You can raise your hand, come on up real quick. Yes, you got Tanisha coming up. Tanisha. Good morning, Tanisha.
Good morning, y'all. I miss y'all.
We miss you too, Tanisha.
Miss you too, girl.
But Caesar, I don't want to watch it no more now. And if what you're saying is true, fuck it. I don't want to watch it.
I would not lie to you. I already know how I am when it comes to movies and TV shows and music.
Right.
So I had to get it under my belt. But when I say I'm like really disappointed, like I really am. Really am.
Funny?
It has moments. It has moments. It's oh my God, man.
Yeah.
It's just
So here's the thing. You I guess, Tanisha, from what you're saying, it may be a situation where this conversation might have saved you, some unnecessary like additional anxiety, like for no reason at all. Like it might have saved you some money by switching to Geico. It's like that kind of thing. But yeah. Oh my God. So I don't know if you're gonna watch it, Tanisha. This is gonna be interesting.
I am gonna watch it because now I'm curious
right.
how it is.
Right. I'm gonna try my best to watch it
neutrally.
And just that's why I said I'm glad for this moment, because at least I could feel that way first and then be like, all right, now that I got that in, all right, now let me see if I can just be neutral and appreciate it for what it. Yeah. Well, man, I'm glad. You know how somebody do an experiment and they like, well, let me try it on you first, because if it don't work on you,
right. And that's what Facebook looks like this morning. Like everybody's talking about the movie and I'm like,
so it's a meh across the board.
So people on Facebook talking about it already?
People are on Facebook talking about it already. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
You hear that? And this is my favorite movie. Like, come on.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're right. You just have to hit one of those.
Like I started saying earlier, don't forget, tell everybody, don't forget to stop at the store to get some bubble gum.
There you go. You know what? That was some great ass advice. As a matter of fact, that's going to be the advice for before you watch. If you watch Coming to America, stop at the store, grab you some bubble gum. That way you can at least laugh at that along with the movie.
Right.
Oh, man, that's what's up. Well.
Yeah.
So this ought to be fun. We're definitely looking forward. We'll see if there's some more people that seen the movie or looking forward to seeing it. Yes. Because
I'm about to get out of here. I'm about to put a new filter, a new gauge on my fish tank so I can quiet down this water. Tanisha, I miss you, girl. I'm gonna be down there soon. I'm coming.
Let me know. I'm going to improv tonight, so let me know.
Let's know. Okay.
Thank you so much, and
miss you too,
I'm on my way to work, so
no doubt, Tanisha.
All right, later.
Yes. Much love.
And I'm out.
All right. So, and I tell you, so one more thing I gotta tell you, bro. So if you can spare a few dollars, don't buy a filter, bro. Don't fix the fish tank, bro. I like the fact that it sounds like you pissing up. Sound like you pissing the whole time. Yo. I'm just standing here at the toilet,
Talking to everybody.
All right, cuzzo.
All right, man. Yo, I holler at you when I smile at you.
Fugazi.
I can't yell like that. But I'm going to get one in before it's all over. We're going to get one in.
All right,
All right, man.
Much love, peeps. Oh, man. Good time. So that is a good question. I wonder if you are going to watch Coming to America. I was really, really thinking about it. And I'm an open-minded individual. So I'm like, okay, I already know that my ass better go into this I better be neutral because, you just can't help it, And it's really one of those things where it's credit and kudos to an amazing, amazing expression. I mean, it was so classic in our hearts. It's changed our lives. We've had quotes from that movie echo or gestures or just moments. So that's just what happens when an artist creates something amazing. And so everybody, we're running a few minutes behind, but we're going to move it swiftly. I am excited as always to highlight people, to be able to meet new people, highlight new people, and as always, chop it up about all things that we talk about under this umbrella of accountability. Things like emotional intelligence, kindness, laughter, love, and all kinds of other beautiful things. And so this morning, I'm excited to be able to meet for the very first time and have a conversation with Brittany Nicole Connor Savarda, who is an emotional intelligence specialist and coach, author of The EQ Deficiency, entrepreneur, someone who likes working with high-achieving entrepreneurs and badass leaders who want to harness the power of their emotions to boost their performance, strengthen their relationships, and live a more fulfilling life, while also reducing stress, anxiety, loneliness, and impulsivity. What kind of life do you want to live? And what legacy do you want to leave behind? I tell you, when it comes to finding people with similar connections, is why this thing called Clubhouse, for me, is the most amazing thing on the planet. Because what I state right there, it almost echoes my own personal statement. It's not a question whether you'll leave a legacy or not. That's not the question. It's what kind of legacy will you leave? Because intentionally or unintentionally, you will leave a legacy. It just means so much more when you realize that it's in the palm of your hand and you have that ability. And that's where we stand in accountability. So we want to say good morning to Brittany. Brittany, good morning to you. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Aaron. I'm well. How are you?
I am doing very well. And as I always say, when I have some people to stand in accountability with, or the opportunity to just meet some new people or put a smile on the face, I'm even happier. Yeah.
I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yes. It's an absolute honor to have you. Thank you so much for having the time and for joining me. I'm excited. This environment of Clubhouse has been one of these kind of things where I've had so much fun meeting new people every day, and people where we're walking on the same journey in life. We're on the same path, even though we might be on different parts of the spectrum, on different hemispheres, or just up the block from each other, So I've just been excited about that. And so it is just such a pleasure to meet you, and to be able to hang out today. I sent out messages, to connect with people. And yeah, here we are. So how are you? How's your week going so far?
It's good. I don't like to use the word busy because I feel like everybody says they're busy. So I'm going to say it's been productive.
Yes. I love it. It's funny you said that. I always talk about that. You can be busy, and that doesn't mean you're being productive. So I love that. And I love it.
There have been busy moments where I haven't been productive, to be honest. But
yes.
Yeah.
It's funny because even those moments, right? When I think about this thing called self-awareness, right? And we think about that first component of emotional intelligence, it's interesting because just knowing that, it means that it was a productive moment. Like just the fact that you can look at that and say, okay, so here are the spaces where I'm doing what I want to do and it's achieving the results. And here are the spaces where, yeah.
Right? And don't you feel like when you first start developing self-awareness, it's almost like you have another person in your head that you
yes.
like you shouldn't be doing that, but I really want to, but you shouldn't.
You are observing, and at the same time, you have an observer as well. You got that observer observing. You're like, wait a minute. There's two of me. Let me tell you what's funny, Brittany. And as people say, I lie to you not. The other day, I was literally thinking about this conversation right here that we're having and the conversation that I have in my head every day as a new part of my video series on social media where it was me. And then I'm going to do like voiceovers where you hear me talking to me like, yeah, why did I do that? I don't know why you did that. Wait a minute. Who are you? Why are you talking? Wait a minute. Who are you to ask? Who am I? Wait a minute. How can you be talking if there's no one in here talking? Like literally. And the caption on the screen is like, I know I'm not the only one. It's so interesting though, because what you start finding is how helpful that voice is, how helpful that coach is, how helpful just having that space between what you're experiencing and then the part of you that is away from it enough to not be caught up in the whirlwind and to be able to observe it, assess it, have some other thoughts about it,
Yeah, it's like a first, second, and third person perspective.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Because the voice talking to you is that second person, then the third person is the observing self.
Yes.
You have to take a step back and say, is this negative self-talk or is this actually, this was trying to help me in some way?
Yes.
Listen.
And I tell you, some of those like helpful like things that we find when we're in that conversation are the only things that keep me on the side of realizing this is therapy as opposed to, you know what, I may need therapy for this.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's so interesting how much of a splitting hair difference it is between having those voices that are saying kind things and the ones that aren't saying so kind things,
Yeah.
Oh man, it's an interesting thing. When I think about emotional intelligence, I think about the journey of this kind of conversation unfolding in my head, and then that other character that's there that notices that this is a conversation going on in my head. And I always talk about it here on the show. I talk about it, pretty much every day now. I think back to my childhood, so much of who we are and the conversations that we have outwardly with each other, as well as the conversations that we have in our head, are all tailored by our upbringing tailored by the environments we grow up in, you know, and what's there that's a part of creating who we are, you know. And so I say that to say, you know, I think about my upbringing with my mom. My mom was the first one to help me out with emotional intelligence and to give me education as a school teacher. She gave me education. And as someone who was just curious, she gave me exposure to different things. So it started breeding that conversation in my head, the ability to separate myself from what I was feeling, you know, from being the feeling to being able to examine that I'm having a feeling, you know. So I'm curious with you, you know, how does that stack up for you as far as the unfolding of your self-awareness, the unfolding of you coming into this path of emotional intelligence? And I'm saying that, like, even if it was before you knew that it was called emotional intelligence, but when you look back now, you're like, oh wow, I see the blossoming of it.
Well, first off, I think that's amazing that you were so fortunate to have a mom that was able to guide you through that, because I came from the complete opposite upbringing. In fact, you know, my dad, and this is what I love about Clubhouse, because I know my parents were never up on Clubhouse, and once you say it, like, it disappears after this.
Yes.
So I can be more candid, but I remember being a child and listening to my dad cry every single morning getting ready for work. Wow. Every single morning. And he would call himself names in the mirror. And
I'll be right back, family.
Was so insecure that he could not
be right back.
Right?
Yeah.
And during those years, I started to practice mindfulness and develop some skills and really just take responsibility, get out of that victim mindset.
Yes.
Me, nothing's my fault.
You
know, I deserve to act and behave this way because of all the things that have happened to me.
Yes.
And it wasn't until after I graduated, though, after doing a complete deep dive. I hated reading growing up.
Right.
But when I did this deep dive, I read like 63 self-help books in a matter of 2.5 years.
Wow.
And I went into like a crazy self-development, hyper-absorption mode.
Wow.
And I just started to apply all these things that I was reading in these books, and it changed my life.
Wow.
I got off of my anti-anxiety medicine. I stopped having panic attacks that were happening like out of the blue every week.
My goodness.
And just really took control over my life and my emotions. And although I went into corporate America, you know, my transformation, like I keep reflecting on it, and I'm like, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to share this with everyone, because the majority of us, not by our fault,
right,
you know, of our own, but we lack emotional intelligence because it wasn't something modeled for us. It wasn't something we were taught.
Right.
So that's when I started Catalyst for Change, because we can be our own catalyst for change. We don't need someone else to be a catalyst for us.
Let me tell you something. When you speak about catalyst, you really, really speak my language. Oh my goodness, I so live for this. So I love listening to people's stories from all walks of life, no matter where they come from, whether their backgrounds are similar or there's a contrast. And the reason why, especially on this journey of emotional intelligence, is I always look for that catalyst. I always look for that pivotal point. I always look for where like that point is of what I call the rose growing through the concrete, you know, the plant that finds its way to the light, even though the odds look, you know, are so stacked against, or the adversity is so strong. And so as a person who grew up where reading was foundational, and reading was something that I didn't even know I was learning when I was reading. I thought reading was like watching TV because that's how my mom raised me. To hear about your contrasting relationship with it, and then to have that pivotal point of going from that to reading 63 books over the next couple of years. What I know, because of how much I study mindfulness and meditation every day, how much it's been a practice, and it's something, you know, now that I'm on, you know, digging into a very, very deep level and even teaching it, I know the power of that kind of mindset change when you're inundating your system over and over and over and over and over with positive ideas, with ideas that allow you to go in and search and to become self-aware, or to put yourself first, to be self-full, you know, instead of, you know, just all these other things. I just marvel at it. I'm grateful for it. And it's inspiring every time I hear a story and I hear a pivotal point like that.
And speaking of books and just reading, you know, I think the Western culture, we so undervalue learning.
Right.
Because it's been forced on us, and it's been made to feel like this chore.
Yes.
And I have friends in third world countries who just, they worship books. I mean, not literally, but you know what I mean?
Yes.
They value education and learning.
Yes.
And they're always absorbing. And then it pains me to hear how we talk about some of these people here. And put them down, because it's like we're destroying ourselves from the inside out, to be quite honest. You know?
Yeah, I really do. I really, really do. I'm one of those people who values education, who worships the ability to learn. Like the brain for me, I mean, you think about the fact that you have this organ that is so small, yet in so many ways infinite, you know, so to speak, when it comes to just the fact that you can continue to learn, and there's always space, because of the fact that you're creating a space just by learning. You know, you're creating the neural pathways, you know, you're lighting up the hemispheres of the brain. It always just blows my mind, you know. So I'm one of those people that values learning in that way. So I agree with you. I so agree with you, you know, when it comes to that. It's very interesting. So, you know, with this, you know, and these ideas, the thing I like about you is looking at how you speak about yourself and who you work with, and, you know, what this thing is for you as far as emotional intelligence. You're working with badass leaders who want to harness the power of their emotions to boost their performance, strengthen their relationship, and live a more fulfilling life while also reducing stress, anxiety, loneliness, and impulsivity. I love that. And high achieving entrepreneurs. One of the things that I know, so I'm in school for psychotherapy. I study with the Milton Erickson School of Psychotherapy under Dr. Jeff Zeig. And so one of the most fascinating things to me about his story is when he was studying with Milton Erickson, which for many who don't know is like half the reason why psychotherapy is what it is today, because of what he brought to the table as far as his approach, which was about intuition. It was about relating to people. It was about improvisation. It was about a lot of things that we see in our arts, like music, theater, and dance, and these kind of things. But as I listened to Jeff Zeig's story, and as he met Milton Erickson and became a 7-year understudy with him, living with him for 7 years to study from him, he said that out of all the things that he told him, he said this one thing. He said, out of all of the books that you read from me and that, you study in order to learn this thing, it's only really two things to remember. Number one, that it's always about motivation and motivating. And number two, people don't often know the power that they possess. It's always about motivation, and people don't know the power and their potential. They don't know their true potential. They don't always know. And that resonated with me so deeply because it's what I knew even before studying psychology and psychotherapy formally. It's what I grew up with and what I naturally developed. I developed it so I could see it in others. And I've always been that person to help others in that way, to help them to see themselves in better ways, because that's the first key to being a coach. That's the first key to therapy, is that you either see it in yourself or you need someone to see it in you. And so that's what I like about what you're speaking about even here. What I feel from you is that same thing. You see others. How do you think about that, when it comes to that aspect, motivation, and the fact that we don't know our full potential?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I agree. And I'm still learning that myself, pushing my limits and what I can do.
Right.
And I don't know if you follow Dr. Joe Dispenza.
No, this first time I've heard it.
So he talks about the science of changing your mind.
Yeah.
And how powerful it is. And so really quickly, this dude was doing, I think, a triathlon. He was in this major accident where he got hit head on while he was on his bike.
Wow.
And it severed his spine.
Wow.
And while he was in the hospital, they gave him an ultimatum, like, you're either going to be paralyzed for life from the waist down, or we can do this surgery that can help you walk again. But most people that have the surgery end up in chronic pain. So it's kind of like, which do you want to choose?
Right.
And so they were like, but you need to make a decision fast because your spine is going to refuse and we can't operate once it's done that.
Wow.
So he decided to walk away and go home because he had interviewed a lot of people that had had the surgery and they were just miserable. And he started doing deep meditation, like hours long, envisioning his spine growing properly in the cells, like down to like the molecules. Like he went to this deep meditation, and within a few months he was walking again.
Wow. And
the doctors couldn't explain it. And so he talks about the mind-body connection, how our thoughts create our reality. And it's true. Our thoughts release that chemical in our brain, those neurotransmitters that communicate with ourselves. So I think we have not only potential outside of ourselves, but inside ourselves.
Yeah. I really believe that's where our potential comes from. Like all the potential that we have, right? I think it's like a matter of whether we tap into it or not,
the energy's out there.
Yeah, it is, right? Especially because of how everything works together. Couldn't agree with you more. I like this concept that you have, the EQ deficiency. Can you tell me more about that book, and that concept?
Yeah, so what I consider an EQ deficiency are all the things that many of us lack today that prevent us from being emotionally intelligent. So some signs of EQ deficiencies would be micromanagement or lack of impulse control.
Yeah.
And the reason that I wrote the book was because I had like a couple week break between my honeymoon and the new year.
Okay.
And the news, I don't really watch the news because it's just so overwhelming to me.
Same here.
But
Same
watching people post on social media and the things that they would say
Yeah.
and how things are just being manipulated and seeing how people are treating each other, I was like, this is a lack of emotional intelligence. This is what I call an EQ deficiency, which is, as you know, a short term for emotional intelligence is EQ, like the emotional quotient.
Right.
And the book talks about how we can develop, well, it's a 3-part book. So the first part is, what is an EQ deficiency and how did we get here? Why do we have this deficiency?
Right.
And I talk about how we've been taught how to behave, but not much deeper than that.
Right.
Like, this is how you should, these are manners.
Right.
This is what is acceptable.
Right.
And so whenever we are triggered emotionally, all of that goes out the window, right? Because our sympathetic nervous system kicks into gear, our rational brain shuts down. Well, we need the rational brain to be able to pull all that information that we've learned of what we should and should not do or what's appropriate, right?
Right.
So what emotional intelligence teaches us is to take control over that sympathetic nervous system and be able to harness the power of our emotional brain and the rational brain. But then I add that third component of compassion.
Compassion, yeah.
Because there is a dark side to emotional intelligence. People can use it to manipulate others. And so without that true compassion and genuine care for other people, then I don't think things are going to improve for the better.
Yeah.
So
I totally agree with you on that. I love that. And I love how you're honing in on it. EQ, and especially when we've grown up in the world knowing about IQ or learning about IQ, but what's really important is your EQ, and you can use your EQ to grow your IQ, So I really do resonate with what you're saying. Evolution, is one of those things where our mindset is proportioned to the place we are, the stage we are in evolution, and that's why I like having these conversations. I love these times that we're in. I love how we keep pulling back the layers even more deeply on who we are. We're peeling back our own onion and going within more and more and more and more. Like you said, we're realizing that just having a set of rules doesn't actually equal harmony within yourself or within the world around you, because it continues to keep you reaching for other people's expectations and not knowing who you are, not being able to check in or go within, not being able to have things like interoception and equanimity and self-compassion and to be self-full, and these kind of things. So I really appreciate what you're saying there. Can you share with me your services and how we can actually connect with you for your services and for your book?
Sure. So right now I'm launching a program called Living and Leading with Emotional Intelligence.
Love it.
And so it takes you from, how to apply this to your personal life, but also how to apply it to your professional life.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard the study by Travis, I think it's Bradbury, but people who, they interviewed like 42,000 people, and people with high EQs made like an average of $29,000 more in their salary than those with low. So for each point you increase your EQ, I think it's like $1,300 you can add to your value in the work or the marketplace. So
yes.
Not to mention the value you can add to yourself and to your family.
Right.
So I have that program that's kicking off, and right now it's in beta, meaning that it's the full program, but it's slashed in almost half of the cost when it launches. So if you want to take advantage of that now, it's on the website, thecatalyst4change.com.
Okay.
And then I also do coaching and consulting. Yeah. And the coaching is for high achieving entrepreneurs, and then the consulting is for small to medium sized businesses. But I'm also looking to do smaller, 2-hour workshops starting in the next couple months that are going to be $35.
Right. Yeah, that accessibility level. I'm definitely with you on that. I really, really appreciate that. And
it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Aaron. I look forward to taking this conversation offline with you too.
Yes. Same here. It's been an absolute pleasure. So by all means, Brittany, the pleasure has been mine. And by all means, if you'd like to, and if you have the ability to, by all means, love for you to hang around for any more of this conversation. And if not, and you got to run, I want to just say that it's been a pleasure. And I want to wish you an amazing day today on purpose.
You too. Yeah, I plan on sticking around for a while.
Yes. Sounds good. And so everybody, once again, just doing a quick refresh. I want to say good morning to you. And as always, thanks for coming through. And to meet our new friend, Brittany, the accountability family. This is, of course, where we stand here every day in accountability on so many things around emotional intelligence and everything else related to it. The thing I thought about this, and I mentioned it yesterday, at one point, I started this series on December 15th, and about halfway through, as it was shaping up, I was like, wonder if I should call this the EI morning show. And I thought about it, I was like, that'd be a great name. And then I was like, well, the thing I like about accountability and accountability partners is that everything fits under that umbrella. When I think about emotional intelligence, I think about things that relate to all parts of life, from laughter, to being honest with oneself, to being authentic, to being able to be loved on, to hearing some music, just all kinds of things. It's just about a full experience. So with that, I just want to say thanks again for you being a part of this experience, the AP Morning Show. If you would like to come up to the stage, by all means, what my goal is. It's just to say, hey, to check in with you, see how you're doing, and to see where we can stand in accountability with each other as we continue about this trip. And so on that tip, we want to say good morning to Amber Delia. Good to see ya. How you doing, Delia? Good morning.
Nice to see you. Thank you, Brittany.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that. Your Instagram picked up.
Oh, nice.
I need to be there.
Yes. Yes.
Needs some EQ, and I definitely need some impulse control. So I'm going to look at the website and be like,
okay, and, right.
I'm not into the self-help books, so I appreciate that you read them all, Brittany, and you'll just pass on.
Right. Isn't that the cool part? About that? It's just there's so many ways to learn, and I'm like you, Delia. One of my favorite ways to learn is to just listen to a person talk. So much so that my psychotherapy classes that I'm in now, it's the thing that I love about it the most. It's literally just videos where you're in the midst of the experience and being talked directly to and seeing something in real time. So I'm with you. let the other person read the self-help book, and then boom, let's sit down and have a conversation. OMG. What's going on with you today, Delia?
I was scared about the movie. I was scared about coming to America.
No, right? No, I know.
I have a touch of woke police in me, and although I don't know what might have been wrong with the first one.
Right.
When I was too young, I tried to watch it again. We were laughing, but we fell asleep. So I don't know if anything's wrong. I even Googled this chat, like, are any Africans mad at this movie? And just because if I don't know, like, I always look, like, I'm looking for the woke police to come help me out. So, like, I was nervous about it from that perspective, because all these Black Americans coming in, like, you know, and then this one was like, okay, well, where's the Africans? Like, I was looking at the main characters, like, oh, okay, it looks like there's an African love interest, maybe.
Right.
I was a little relieved from that perspective. I don't know. Yeah, I get a little nervous.
Get a little nervous. I'm just a little nervous. I'm telling you, when I tell you that echoes my sentiments. Listen, and what's most fun about this, and why, as soon as my cousin came on this morning, he was like, yo, my morning is not going well. And I was like, yo, why? And when he started mentioning it, I knew exactly where he was going. And I was like, oh my gosh. The funny thing about this is that I'm going to, I knew from the time I thought about it, where I was like, I don't know about this. I was like, okay, I got to start working on my emotional intelligence toward this, because I might fall into the category of not being able to accept it. And that's okay too. But OMG, because Delia, it's really one of those things where the movie is so classic. You know, when you do something that well the first time, it's like you either gonna nail it or you don't. And you just gotta hope people can appreciate the up-to-date version. So I'm looking forward to seeing it, Delia, and then coming back here and then being able to share my thoughts. Oh man. Good time. What you doing creatively, Delia? Tell me something. Let me tell you something, Delia. I looked at your Instagram the other day. Oh my gosh, you were one of. Let me tell you just publicly, you are one of the dopest people I know. I'm gonna just tell you like that. I'm just gonna say it like that.
No, that's crazy. You know a lot of dope people.
I do, and her name is Delia.
I'm one of the dopest 15,000.
Let me say this.
And you know what? I'm honored to be in this confessional.
Yo, Delia, you are so. The thing that I appreciate, is I like to be able to, just like sit and really appreciate a person, like really look to find the things about them that are beautiful or that are like, that they do that are amazing, their interests and that kind of thing, what makes them unique, that kind of thing. So I was looking at your stuff and I was just like, yo, oh my gosh, because a lot of like how you think, a lot of how you flow, the things that you're into, they're very similar things that I'm into. Like the way you see imagery, like I like how you work with the images, with the colors and stuff. Like I'm an abstract person. So it's something, a lot of times it doesn't have to be really crazy or extravagant. It could just be something real simple, So whether it's that or the way that you brainstorm, I was loving your brainstorm. I was like, we sound like each other. That's how I brainstorm. So you are too cool. So what you been doing creatively lately? Have you written anything lately or been brainstorming on anything? What's been in that creative imagination of yours?
So I'm writing a third short story, and this is about the trauma as superpower. So it's a character who recovers from has violent and injury against a healing factor, if you know X-Men.
Right.
And so her healing factor is physical, not emotional. And so I also peruse Brittany's website to see if I can do any more research there about how this character is going to grow. And I'm also going to meet with Coco, Madam Coco Lorraine,
yes.
today.
Oh, snap.
She's I'm going to meet with her on just a chat.
Okay.
And from there, we're hoping to do a what is your superpower discussion about trauma recovering and coping skills.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay. So I will accept an emphatic no after I ask this question. But OMG, I want y'all to have that here on Clubhouse so we can listen to it. That's an amazing moment. Okay. Never mind. I hope y'all, I can't wait for that moment.
I have no preferences. I'm down. It's up to Coco because she is the master of it, and that's why I definitely, when we do the superpower discussion, I'm taking her lead.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to call Coco and see if I can work some mojo on it. Let me tell you why I say this. So, because what I just said to you about being a dope individual, and Coco as well is dope. But what I think about most, and what I think about is you two, your minds together, because both of you are so creative, like so creative as far as imagination and yeah. So anyway, that's going to be fire. And you said that out of that, you all are working on, what's that working towards? I'm sorry.
Another Clubhouse room. So she does her Pain into Power Clubhouses,
right.
And so we were going to take that and try to use the theme of superhero narratives, and see if there's also. I'm also curious of how to adapt what she's preaching to literature and my work. Yeah. So if there's more that people can focus on, people who write memoirs, for example, could benefit as well. In addition to, she's focused on speakers, and I think she's working on writing a memoir. I remember this vaguely from like months ago, because I think she did that excerpt from her own memoir. So I question like, how do I adapt what she offers to writing? Because some of those rules or the formula, like, okay, you don't always want to do this, and that order. Right. Yeah,
that's super dope. Let me tell you something. When you said superhero, and with the conversation that I've had with her, I was like, oh snap, I see what this is about to be. And I'm hoping to play one of those superhero parts. Yo, this is so dope. I can't wait.
Super empathy.
Right. Super empathy. Empathy man. Yeah, empathy man. Ah, that's dope. Oh, snap. That's dope.
Witches though. Which charm is it? Phoebe? I can't remember which charming character is the one with them.
Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, you said, wait a minute, what character? Charm?
On Charm. I think it's Phoebe. I think it's Phoebe. She develops empath skills.
Right.
She can read the future, empath, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be empathy, man. Yo, okay. So this is dope. This is dope as hell. I can't wait till y'all come together. Real talk. Oh, man, that's going to be so dope.
So a fun little thing I did yesterday, in addition to working on that story, was I wrote an invite for my baby cousin's birthday party. It's super adorable.
Oh, man.
You know what? Tomorrow I'll read it. It's adorable.
Look,
the theme is,
I was just about to ask you too. What's the thing? Go ahead. What's the theme?
The theme is royalty. So for his first birthday party, he's going to do a little crowning ceremony. And this was my idea. Because I can find it on. Okay.
Yes.
My mom has custody of him, and so we call my mom the Duke, and my mom and my stepdad the Duke and Duchess, because she wanted to be Duchess instead of Grandma for some reason. So the thing is, hear ye. The Duke and Duchess Caldwell Bowen of Cherryville cordially invite you to the crowning ceremony honoring His Royal Knee Highness Prince Jamel on the occasion of his first birthday.
Yes.
Prince Jamel crowned on 3/21/20 in all His Royal Majesty. 1 year hence, the royal family shall place a golden crown upon his golden crown. He's black and blonde.
Oh my God.
Pomp, circumstance, pampers, and shirts and pants befitting a king to be will be on full display. Please attend by magic word link below.
Oh my God, Delia. Yo, okay. So look, thank you for letting me know once again why I think you are so dope. Let me tell you something. First of all, your Royal Knee Highness, yo, that is so cute. Oh my God, yo, that is so dope. And then I like how you said placing the crown on top of placing the golden. Did you say golden crown on top of his golden crown? You said,
yeah. I ordered it. It should be here tomorrow.
Right, but it's the way you phrased it. It's the way you phrase that, though. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. You're so artistic. Let me tell you something. First of all, thank you for reading that here, because I was going to ask you to read something before we got up. I just wanted my ears to be blessed with the Leah flavor in your ear. So, so I'm glad that you shared that, because first of all, again, that was so amazing. That was so amazing. He ought to be grateful for you. And the thing is, I can't wait until he understands and hears that. That is so cute. I think, let me tell you something, Leah. I really think that you should read that on your IG. Oh my God. Oh, it's so cute. Oh my gosh. But that was so beautiful.
Speaking of coming to America,
yeah.
I haven't written it yet, but I almost did a parody of Queen to Be.
Oh, really?
Subject. You know, my sister is a lyric soprano, so she can sing it and actually make it sound good.
Wow.
I'm not sure because, you know, it's a little salacious. Like, I don't know if I want to do that I don't know if I want to translate that energy to a 1-year-old.
I get it. See, not yet. At least started
completely free.
Right.
Completely free of Jesus. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, nah. It's like one of those moments where you're like, yeah, nah. Yes, Delia.
You know, FYI, I talked to the lawyers and they told me it was too late for that custody battle. So, meanwhile, I had to put my feelings aside and do this. So, on an emotional intelligence level, on the one hand, I kind of slipped it in some truth to my mom, like this boldly just.
Right.
I didn't tell her off. I just said this, and then it was like, cause she really doesn't care about my feelings like this.
Right.
So she really came and asked me that stuff up to me. Yeah, and I was just like, you can't hold in your head that this hurts me. But I did it anyway, and I sent it to her. And, you know, I put all my creativity into something that I would have done for myself, so that she can duplicate the effort, ask for help. So emotional intelligence and impulse control, I don't need to tell my mom the truth. It's not
I get
my energies.
Yeah, you know what boundaries. Right, you know what boundaries to keep up.
Yeah, so I need that emotional intelligence. It's so exhausting fighting that impulse.
Let me tell you, it can be.
And then
it can be, right? It can be, except for until you settle in, until you relax into it, until you just realize that it doesn't have to be that struggle. Let me tell you something, Leah. Ken Briscoe, on our accountability family, Ken Briscoe said about maybe 4 weeks ago here on the show, something that, you know me, I always like a good quote. It stays with me. Ken Briscoe said, disappointments are just failed expectations. And I was like, bro, bars. Because the thing is, when you remove the expectation, then there's no room for disappointment. And here's the other thing too, to add on to that. When you no longer need the validation to begin with, which is what I like about what you're saying. Like you're at this point and you're continuing to practice being at this point of being at that balance point where you can share the things that you desire to share or that you need to share without caring about the other side of the coin, or without sharing the things that you don't need to, because you know that shit is going to get under your skin and it's going to trigger you, and there's no need for all of that. You know what I'm saying? So I like what you're saying, and I like that balance, that continued striving and that walking toward balance in that way. Because when you remove the expectations, disappointments, they're not possible anymore, and when you no longer need the validation. So I like what you're saying. I just wanted to let you know that. Really wanted to let you know that. Yeah, Delia.
Yeah,
So that's what's up.
I'm gonna be up in Brittany's website and
yes.
keeping it moving. And my baby cousin is a writer my baby cousin is in a separate household, and that's his sister. And so I said, hey, because my mom asked me to write him a poem, and I was like, that is emotional labor. Like, why would you ask that of me? But I'll do this, But I said, his sister writes poems about him. You should include her. So she has asked me not to yet, but hopefully she will permit me to reach out to her so that she can write a nice poem for her brother. So yeah, it's a little weird, but
no, I get it. It's
it's beautiful.
I get it, and I get the walk, and I get the eggshells. I get all of that. I appreciate that you're feeling it out in the way that you are, because that's demonstrating so much emotional intelligence. I want to also do a quick refresh of the room. I want to say hello. We want to say hello to Dr. Shalimar, again to Brittany and Eunice. If there's anybody that'd like to come to the stage, by all means, please throw up a wave. The main goal is always just to say, hey, first, and to check in. Just see how you're doing. I care about you. I really do. That's the thing I like about this environment, too, because since there is no video, you can actually hear in a more detailed way a person's intentions and their tone, and you can be able to tell whether they are being authentic or not. So, yeah, with that, I want to say hello to a couple of my friends. And if not, if you'd like to just continue to hang out and make this your favorite morning radio show, by all means, you know how it goes. You can do that too. Let's say good morning to Dr. Shalimar Jones. Good morning, Dr. Shalimar.
Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hey there.
It's my afternoon, so my day is getting ready to start wrapping up here.
Right. Are you still in Germany?
Yes. I'm still here. We'll be here for the next couple of years.
Love it. Love it.
Picked up my kiddos, but I wanted to drop by and say hello. And thank you for having this room, and thank you for pinging me here. I love talking about emotional intelligence, and I just heard it mentioned. I absolutely believe it's something that we all really need.
Yes.
I just found out this week that I'll be teaming up with the international organization to actually distribute my board game.
Oh, really? Yay! Wait a minute. I got to turn up the volume. I'm celebrating you. Yes. Oh, that's so good.
Yes. And I want people just to know about emotional intelligence. It's so important.
Yes.
Branding my product line and all of that. So it's a good thing. And I think the more people know this, the more you're able to take the reins and be able to use this in your life.
Yes.
Better off things are for all of us.
I could not agree with you more. Here's the beautiful thing I like about the serendipity and intention of this moment. Every person that's around you and I are creatives. And so the thing that's so exciting about what you have created is that it brings creativity to utility. Is what I like to call bringing utility to artistry. Could you please explain this game that you have? Because this morning, before you came in here, we were with Brittany, who's still hanging out with us there down there in the audience. And so Brittany was explaining about her EQ deficiency program. And we were talking about it from a place of creativity and artistry. And then here you pop in, the serendipity. So please tell us about this game. I want everybody to know about this. I'm aware, but let's get it.
Absolutely, yes. So the game is designed. So by trade, I am a licensed clinical psychologist. Yes. I'm a researcher. I'm an author. So I specialize primarily in child mental health and pediatric health psychology, yes, but also women. So this game is the evolution of essentially like the last 20 years of my work.
Yes.
I've already done in therapeutic practice, but how the game works is that it teaches the basics of emotional intelligence. So most people only really have like a couple word categories: mad, sad, happy, worried, and other.
Yes.
But they're not expansive. And so this game, from a child perspective, but also from an adult perspective, uses color coordination. So it's a combination of emotional intelligence, but also social emotional learning, which is the equivalent in the education field. So I've combined all of those theories together to be able to create this game that breaks it down into simple color-coded principles.
Right.
And so as you go through the board game, each time you land on a color, it's associated with a particular word category.
Right.
And you have to be able to identify a word within that category. And you can't use the same word. Once it's been used, you have to find another one.
Right.
Tied with that, it's also tied with certain action.
Yes.
So as you go around the board, you identify feelings, but you have to associate with an action. That also includes demonstrations of frustration and coping skills. And so by the time you're done with the board, you have then expanded your emotional lexicon.
Yes.
You've seen how others exhibit their feelings.
Yes.
You have now been able to identify more emotional feelings. And I honestly say, like, I use this with my own kids. I use this with kids and adults in therapy. And by the time you play this just once, you have already improved your emotion word vocabulary.
Yes.
And that piece is really important. And it's so simple and in a way that you can understand it to be able to apply it in your life. And that's how it works. And that's essentially what my program is. It's applying all of that knowledge that I've garnered over time in a simple and feasible way.
Let me tell you, first of all, thank you so much for sharing that. And let me tell you why it resonates with me so deeply on so many neural pathway levels. So number one, I grew up playing so many games because of the environment that I grew up in with my mother, with the education and exposure. So whether it was the actual physical games I was a part of, like sports, like baseball or basketball, or these kind of things, or whether it was the board games that we played in the home, my mother always used games to be able to help me to be relating to myself and to grow as far as these things called interoception and just me checking in with myself. So when you combine that with the fact that right now I'm in school for psychotherapy, and I'm in school with the Milton Erickson Institute, and they call it experiential psychotherapy. And already being a student of experiential marketing and just all experiential things in life, being a musician and a professional improviser, the one thing I know is that the greatest way for you to grow emotional intelligence or any kind of skill is to put it in the midst of a game. It's the number one thing you could do because you're bringing out the creative aspects of the brain, the imagination, the participation from the person intentionally, the ability to create and blaze a million different neural pathways because of the way that you're connecting one piece of information to so many things, sights and colors and sounds and just all these kind of things. So I am like ecstatic about this. I can't wait to get the game, and I can't wait to continue to share this and to share this game and this idea and this amazing creation you have with the world.
Thank you so much. And what you said, I feel like is so true, especially from the sense of play. When kids play, kids learn.
Yes.
When adults learn.
Adults
and
learn.
Help improve those neurotransmitters to be able to create faster synapses, so that way you can access this information.
Yeah.
You can regulate faster, and then you can apply it. And that is so important because I feel like a lot of programs, it's overwhelming when you listen to them. And it's a whole lot of information, and it's not in a way that's presented that makes sense and that can actually stay with you. And I've, over the years, I've kind of honed this in to be able to really just pick out those main steps to help people to understand it. Thank you so much.
Oh,
I appreciate it.
The pleasure is all mine. In fact, there's one more thing that I want to share with you too. And again, it's the serendipity and the intention equaling this moment. And it's around another game that I talked about yesterday on this show. We had a great discussion about it. And right before I tell you about that, though, I'm going to check in with Sherry. Sherry, good morning to you. I know you got to run shortly, and I wanted to jump in with you. Good morning. How are you feeling?
Good morning. I'm great, thank you.
Yes.
And I have a little bit of time, so I got a little bit, but
okay.
I can handle for a minute.
Okay, cool.
And good morning to everyone in the.
Yes. Everybody say good morning to Sherry. And so I also, in fact, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll come right back to you, Sherry, because I also know that you have some thoughts about what Dr. Shalimar was saying too, because of just what we do as far as strategy and just all these things and how we make these connections. So I can't wait to hear your thoughts about that. So I'll make this quick. So yesterday, and this is for everybody that's here, yesterday on the show in the morning, we were talking to Tracy O'Connell, emotional intelligence coach, and we chopped it up for a bit. As we were going deep in conversation, we got to some point where I asked her this question that I've been asking people for the last probably couple years. When I'm talking about things like self-awareness, self-regulation, and all these things related to emotional intelligence, and I say, do you remember the Lemmings game? And except for like maybe one other person that I know. Who was that? Who just opened up their mic? I'm sorry, I had my eyes closed. What?
I did.
Do you are you familiar with that game?
It was a fun game.
Oh my, okay. So here we go with another moment of serendipity. Okay. So except for moments like this, most moments when I say that, most people don't know that, like not ever heard of it. What happened yesterday was that I mentioned the game in the way that I always do, where I'm talking about emotional intelligence, and then I explain what happens in the game. Tracy said, no, I've never heard of this game before. She said, but it's interesting because I've heard of Lemmings, and it brings me the complete opposite experience than what you're saying. It brings me an experience of triggering and trauma. And I was like, wow. She said, because the only thing I've heard about lemmings and seen are that there's these creatures that just jump off these cliffs. They just walk to that cliff, jump off, and just commit mass suicides. She was like, so I don't know how you could see like anything emotionally intelligent positive. And then the moment hit me, because it made me realize why I've been talking about this game for so long, and why, even though I didn't have anyone else who could relate to it, why I knew deep down inside how much this game had to do with emotional intelligence. What happened in that moment was her thoughts about the what they do, and then me knowing about what happens in this game is that it's a group of people, that's a village of people, and it's one of those games like Mario Brothers where your goal is to go from left to right and to get over the obstacles. These obstacles are things like holes in the ground, or you got to climb up walls, or there's some kind of other dangerous thing. And the lemmings are just these village of people that are just walking forward. When you hit start, you just start seeing all these people walk forward across the board. It's your job to save them so that they don't die. And what you see at the top of the screen is they tell you the different jobs that they have. There's some lemmings that are diggers, some that are like crossing guards, some that are climbers. They all have different jobs. Together as a village, their gifts, their talents, their skills, I mean to say, not jobs, their skills, their talents, and their gifts all are different and unique. And you need all of them together to help all of them survive and move through and move through these obstacles. So fast forward to this moment again. That game for me, even before I knew what emotional intelligence was, I was in the 80s. I was in my teen, like not even teens. I was a young kid. But I knew inside that this had to do with emotional intelligence because of that. It was about you seeing how you could help them to work together. Dr. Shalimar, have you ever looked at that game in that way?
No, I didn't. But that is an interesting take on the Lemmings game. I remember playing this as a kid, and it was super fun. And if you made a wrong mistake, then all of the lemmings just flew off of a cliff, right?
Right.
But I do see that point in all of these things have to work together.
Yes.
And I also see it as another way from an emotional intelligence perspective of don't always follow the crowd, because just because they're doing it, you have to do what is morally and ethically right for you. And I think about that especially with teens. So, and 100%. The importance of, if you have emotional intelligence, it can keep you out of a lot of situations that other kids fall prey to, with like social contagion theory, those types of things. Right. And with essentially like one cutter, you always have like 5 other ones somewhere in that peer group because they're following behind someone, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
When I hear lemmings, that's what I think of.
That's
in terms of how are you managing yourself and how are you managing your own emotions to not let those be influenced by other people's thoughts. Make your own decisions.
Right, I get it. I think that's an amazing thing. That's so interesting, though, that you think about that with lemmings. I'm gonna have a lemmings game night, like where we all play lemmings, because I'm curious as to if that's how you feel, or that's the perspective when you hear that after playing it. And I only say that because, like I said, I think about those lemmings in that game as what we're all striving for, even what you just said, right? Which is not to follow the crowd, but to use our individual gifts like together to help each other. Like it's, and to share love and to take care of each other. In this game, you would have to put the builders of the bridges, hurry up and put them ahead so they can build the bridge and be of service, be of help. You would have to employ the person who knew how to carve through the dirt, because if not, the people would turn around, they would fall. So they had to use their powers, in that way. Interesting thing. But at any rate, Dr. Shalimar, I am so excited about your game. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And by all means, we're going to keep this conversation going, because this is really exciting. And congrats on the news that you got with the company that you'll be able to distribute the game through. That's crazy good. Oh my gosh, that's so good.
I can't wait to play it with my baby cousin.
Yes.
Oh wait, I can't call her baby cousin anymore. I keep forgetting. Because I'm like, she made that very clear.
It's all good. She's developing. She's continuing to be emotionally intelligent too, so she'll understand and have that balance too. Oh man, this is so good. Yes. Let's hang out with Sherry for our segment with Sherry. During this segment, everybody, this is where we not only hang out with Sherry and continue to talk about these topics, but we also have a refresh moment. And our refresh moment is where we talk about things related to creative brand, marketing strategy, and these kind of things as we work together to help other people with their brands and all that we're doing in our business together, our consulting business called Refresh. So everybody, let's say good morning to Sherry. Good morning, Sherry. Good morning. Good morning. What's happening? And if there's anybody else who would like to come to the stage, by all means, come on and drop a wave. Come on up. Let's say hello. And you can ping someone else in as well if you enjoy this experience and you think they would too. Sherry, what's happening this morning? I kind of know what's happening.
Right. My sister let me slip out for a minute.
Oh, she did? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, in part because we're in different time zones, so
I got you.
That part. Great.
Well, I guess there's something to be thankful for.
Yeah. But what's happening? So today we are just maybe an hour away from the kickoff for the children's sojourn for the celebration of 56th crossing of the Selma Bridge crossing.
Wow.
And that is happening live today on Zoom. Sure. And it's going to be really, really beautiful. I love what she's put together. So
right. That's what's up. That is what's up. So what part are you playing? What do what's your...
I'm actually working behind the scenes. I'm good with that too.
Right.
I don't need to be in front of the camera, but today I'm just working to manage or assist with managing the Zoom chat and the slides and just kind of making sure everything runs. So
yes.
Yeah.
100%. Well, cool. So in this moment, one of the things that we were talking about yesterday is that, here we have this concept called Refresh, where we're helping people to do a refresh, do a revamp, revive, reawakening, all these things, for their business, their product, their service. And so one of the things that we do regularly is to bring value to people by talking about different subjects that relate to these things and also different things that come up as questions. So with that, Sherry, when you think about a person refreshing their brand, what's the first thing for you that comes to mind that most people overlook? It's like, it may not be the most obvious thing, but it's like, oh my goodness, it's an essential thing.
Well, I think the very first thing is really looking at your vision statement and your purpose, to make sure that you are in alignment with where you want to go. Yeah. And if not, it's okay to rework it. Right. That's one thing. Like, vision statements can evolve and purposes evolve of what you want to do and how you want your business to go. And then from there, we start building out the framework of what things are going to look like in terms of your goals and what your marketing plans are going to be and all of those kind of things.
I'm definitely feeling you on that. It's something that comes to mind for me in those words that you just said. And it's one of the things I enjoy about this concept that we have, this refresh, this reinvigorate, this revive, because these words really make you think about your own brand. So what it made me think about when you were speaking was, you're speaking about a concept of revisiting your why.
Yes.
Revisiting your why.
Yeah, I mean, you want to look at your purpose, your mission, and your vision, right? Right. So the purpose is why we're doing this. Why do we do what we do? Your mission is how are we going to do it? And the vision is what is it that we're trying to achieve? So you're looking at those things and you're trying to figure out, how you're doing those things. And it's okay to ask the questions and revise them, So you have a combination of leading and lagging indicators that are going to tell you what it is that if you're hitting your goals, right? But out of that, you do want to develop 5 to 7 goals that are measurable. Most people are familiar with SMART goals, so that's the simple way to put it. And SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely.
Let's get that again. Say that to me again.
Sure. SMART goals are goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely.
Okay. I was recording that in my mind because these are the kind of things that really help you to even realize again, or to even refocus in. I like that.
Right. And attainable and realistic may sound like they're the same thing, but that's not necessarily true, obviously, because we wouldn't put it there. But attainable is looking at, is it something we can actually do with what we have? And realistic is more looking at, given the time, because timely is maybe you need to get this done by the end of March. Right. Is it realistic that we can get everything that we need to get done within the time that we have?
That's powerful. Right.
So you got to look at how realistic is what you said. And if not, those pieces are interchangeable. So you can look at the time and say, okay, it is a realistic goal, but it's not realistic for us to do it by the end of March. Right. So we maybe have to push this out to the end of June.
Right. Yeah, you're combining together. It almost feels like you're getting even more realistic. Like you're really coming down to pulling these things together. Like you said, what's attainable, what's realistic, what makes sense, what can you forecast? If it's anything that this makes me think about, it's like the foundation. I talked about this earlier, and it was related to psychotherapy, and it's the same thing. It's the foundation of what it means to create a formula that you can feel successful at. Because if you can revisit your why, if you can go back to the source of why you have the business or brand or product or service, why you're doing what you're doing, then you can really revisit it and find a place where you can feel successful or you can feel motivated in this case,
Right.
So I love that.
Or here's the flip side of that. Maybe you like your business and you like what you're doing, but you're not quite hitting the target that you want to. So then we have to pivot so that you can get what you want out of this business and produce the outcomes you want. So, this is what we are working with people on, and it's, what I love so much. So yeah,
100%.
I'm excited.
Yes, same here, same here. Okay, let me act like you're actually in the midst of another experience because I keep forgetting. 100%. So with that, everyone, again, Sherry and I, we work together with a concept called Refresh. This is one of the things that we do together, and it is a concept that we came up with, putting our 40 years plus of experience together in the form of branding and marketing and strategy and creative ideas and social media and a whole lot of other things into a gifting package to really help people to transform, to refresh, to revamp, and to revive their brands. And so with that, you can catch us here every day where we'll share a thought or a tip or just some idea, answer a question or something that comes about to help. And then on Wednesdays on Clubhouse, 3 to 4 p.m., we have Refresh Wednesdays where we take a specific topic. And for that time, we share about it. And we do power sessions in the moment where we can get you as much information as we can give you about the questions that you may be having. And then other than that, we do consulting service as well. So you can DM us for that, for Refresh. So yeah, Sherry, I'm excited about today. Well, you about to go be great behind the scenes.
App today?
Actually, I didn't, not at length. The only thing I said was literally this one line. I read something and I was like, you'll be able to see that soon in the new app, coming soon, the 5M experience. And that was it. I didn't ramble about it today. Can you believe it?
No, that's why I asked. I was like, wait, we're not talking about the app. And Dr. Sheryl, I'm really interested in learning more about your game. I came in right at when you were, talking about it.
Yes. That game. Oh man. The thing is, Dr. Shalimar and I just met I don't know, maybe a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. I just happened to be one of those rare times where I'm cruising down the hallway and I'm actually in another experience. And so I found a beautiful experience that was called Emotional Intelligence, How to Slay Your Dragons with It. And I was like, oh, this is my kind of conversation right here. And it was small and intimate. You know what I mean? I told you I thought about you, Sherry, because that's what I was just about to say, is at the top of your bio, Queen Dragon Slayer. And so I went in this room, and again, I knew what was going to happen because of the title and because it was an intimate setting. And so I not only made friends with Dr. Shalimar, but some other beautiful people on this road of intelligence. And so, yeah, I support Dr. Shalimar, even though we just met, and even though I've never even played the game, but I get it. I get it, and I get where all of this is coming from. And I think it's genius. I think it's brilliant. So
I have a question. There was a game you were talking about. Is it the Lemmings?
Yes.
L-E-M-Mary?
Yes, the Lemmings. Lemmings.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The way you were describing it reminds me of when I was in school.
Mm-hmm.
I was taking a sociology class, and we had to play this game in order to get our grade, and it was called SimSoc, or Simulated Society. And it was an 8-hour day, an 8-hour game, and people were divided. Yeah, it was serious, but it was the outcome, or the goal was similar to what you're saying. Everybody, each segment of the society had to work together to achieve a common goal, but you didn't know that. You had to figure it out in the process of the game, and it literally took 8 hours to play this game.
Wow. Wait a minute. So you sat down all at once and played it for 8 hours, or you broke it up?
No, we played it straight through.
Damn.
Yeah, because the way it's a simulated society, so people are divided into various segments of the society. So you have workers, you have judicial, you have I think the elite or the wealthy, and then there's general population type thing. And again, it's been some years, but everybody has, you have certain people have taxes to pay, and you have to work with them. It was crazy.
Oh, Sherry.
And you can't get eliminated. Yeah. What?
Now that you said that, I'm thinking about it. I have heard of this game.
Yeah, SimSoc.
Well,
SIMSOC.
Well, I think
and it's
I think they fooled you, Sherry.
What?
That was actually the game of life. You've been in it. They told you it was 8 hours. It's actually been years, and it's now. I'm fucking with you, Sherry.
I don't even like you right now. Forget you, man. No. I'm all hanging on the edge of the seat.
But here's the thing: when you explain everything you explain, and here's what hit me, right? So there's words that jump out at me. You were explaining all the jobs. I was like, yeah. Then you got to like, there was the elite, and I was like, what the fuck? But I didn't want to stop you. Then I was like, wait a minute, this is really? Actually, like, somebody just said, okay, Sherry, we're gonna start this game. Go, and you just been living ever since. And yo, but I get it though. I get it. And so are you saying what was the goal of this game? Because I think I missed that part. My bad.
The goal of the game, well, they give you a goal, but ultimately the goal is that every portion of society has to learn how to work together,
right,
so that the society survives. Because otherwise, people are dying off, and power shifts happen within the game if you don't figure it out. So, right, it's very interesting. There's like a workbook, and there's a whole thing that goes with it.
Okay, so I'm very interested in this. And so if you can shoot me like either YouTube video or something that can like input it into my system, like in a listen. And here's why I say this. I think it's a fabulous game because it's about working together. What I'm curious about is where do the let's see. The goal, where does the goal of the game come from? Like how is the goal of the game agreed upon? And I say that on some whole, that's why I laughed about the life thing. I say that on some whole other, like, you know me.
So I just looked it up. It's actually on, the workbook is on Amazon, but it also is listed in Wikipedia. So it says SimSoc, or Simulated Society, is a game used by universities and other groups to teach various aspects of sociology, political science, and communication skills. Originally created by William Gameson in 1966, it is currently in its 5th edition. It provides a way for participants to better understand the problems of governing a 20th century style nation state society. The participants grapple. This, I only got about 2 more sentences, or 3. The participants grapple with issues like economic inequality, justice, diversity, trust, power dynamics, and leadership as they negotiate their way through labor management relations, political turmoil, and natural disasters. To be successful, players must utilize basic social processes from cooperation and reward to threat and punishment. The goal of SimSoc is to bring a deeper understanding to everyday experiences as well as social and organizational theory.
That's deep. That's deep right there. And then it
was a great game though.
Yo, I want to play that game. Dr. Shalimar, you ever heard of that game before? Delia, you ever heard of that game before?
I have never heard of that, but it sounds really interesting, and I love the fact that it teaches you all of those things. I was sitting here thinking about like, how could that apply today? How can schools use this? Because I don't know if they have 8 hours to do it, but maybe in some of those like leadership conferences or things like that they do for students, I think it would be very valuable.
They do have there is a revised way of playing it where you can shorten the time. And I'm looking now online. I just Googled SimSoc game, and Simon & Schuster has the coordinator's manual, and Amazon looks like they're carrying the participants manual. So I'm sure Simon & Schuster will have the participants as well.
That's amazing. This is so fascinating. Delia, had you ever heard of this? Well, I never heard of this before. This is really fascinating. Sherry, can you do me? I'm gonna let you go after this because I know you gotta jump back to your other duties. Can you?
Wait, hold on. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Shalimar. Just found this information. If you do Google the SimSoc game and pull up the Simon & Schuster, here's what it says. It says for groups up to 90, for each exercise. You can have 50 to 90 minutes, 5 to 10 times, for a total of no less than 8 hours. So you can break it up.
That's
no, that's even better. I love that concept.
That's so interesting.
You know what? I'm driving, but I'm literally about to pull over so I can write it down.
Yes.
You know what?
But I'm going to mention this to the school.
I will go. Oh, absolutely. I'll go to your Instagram and I'll send it to you in a message. That way you don't have to pull over, and I am now following you on Instagram.
Fabulous. Thank you. Yes, let's do that. And I will make sure I follow you back. But I do have to run because I have my kiddos. I got to get them something to eat.
Yes.
But
Much
I'm going to look
love.
this up, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for this game because I'm looking this up.
Yes.
All right.
Have a wonderful one.
All right.
And as always, good to talk to you, Dr. Shalimar. Take care now.
For sure. You guys too.
All right. All right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that is fascinating. Sherry, if you could you send me, and I know I could do this myself. In fact, let me do this right now. Never mind. You don't have
What's that?
I was going to say, could you send me a YouTube video that's just it's just talking about this, something I could just hit play and just listen to.
Let me see if I can find one.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a great game, like I said.
I love it. I want to do a quick refresh and say hello to all the family. Edify, Sherry, Brittany, Eunice. If anyone wants to come up to the stage, by all means, you know how it goes. We're hanging out here until 10:30. Continue to unfold in beautiful conversation. Beautiful conversation. So if you'd like to come up to the stage to be a part of that conversation, you know you can do that. And if not, and you just want this to play in the background of your day as you take over your day in the most beautiful way, then you know you can continue to do that too. Thanks for coming through. Yeah, Sherry. So, all right, they probably looking for you, Sherry.
Okay, so I just found a video, and I'm about to. How do you want me to send it to you? You said email text, or what do you need?
Text would be cool.
Text. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So coming your way. Hi, Sherry.
Yes.
Hi there. Hey, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Sherry. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Yes.
That's cool. I had never heard of the game that Sherry described either. So
isn't that cool? Oh my goodness.
Interesting. Yes. Definitely.
I think it's interesting too. You know, yeah, it's like, well, first of all, anything that can teach us, you know, how to be better human beings, you know, for that being the goal. And what I'm interested in is experiencing it firsthand so that I can see like what it does for me as far as what I take from it, from that game to real life. Like what I'm curious about what I learned in that game that I didn't just naturally learn in living life that way. I'm so fascinated with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Once you play it, I think you'll be like, they should introduce this and make it required for students.
Right.
It's such a great game.
Wow. Sherry, how are you today otherwise?
I'm doing good. I'm glad it's Friday and the sun is shining here.
In Nebraska, the
Yes.
sun is shining.
Right.
I love it. Well, have you played any music lately? You played any piano lately? What you been playing lately?
Yeah, I have not. All this week I haven't practiced because on this past Sunday at our church, we had a Black History program. And that's the thing. I don't know if you remember, I was telling you I do, I guess in church, because it's in church, we call it praise dancing. But it's basically like a combination of modern dancing and traditional African dance, because a lot of our congregation is African. And so I think I was kind of worn out we'd been practicing that. And then we finally pulled it off on Sunday.
Oh my goodness.
So now I'm just like trying to get back to my normal workout routine.
Yes, yes.
And that's what I was thinking about yesterday, that I haven't practiced in like a week or two. So
I
want to get back to it.
Well, before this show is over with, I'm actually going to see if I can do some inspiring you by playing the piano. And
awesome.
Yeah, and I'm gonna play for you. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell me, Sherry, out of the music that you've heard me play, what has been a favorite of mine, or a favorite tune that you hear me play. I'm gonna play that tune. And you can think about it if you need to. Okay. You want a second to think about it?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
well, I know for sure.
Got it.
The one that has the word star in it.
Behold the Star?
Yes.
All right, sweet.
Yeah, that was my favorite. And then I'm a Robert Glasper fan.
Yes, yes.
So anytime you do Glasper chords.
yes.
Cool.
I love it. Well, you'll get a 2-for-1. You're going to get a 2-for-1 because my approach to my original song, Behold the Star, it's some of the ways that I phrase the chords and the way that I play is influenced by Robert Glasper. So you're gonna get a 2-for. I'm gonna play Behold the Star for you all in a few minutes. Yes. Brittany, awesome. We want to welcome Brittany back to the stage. If you didn't get a chance to say hello to Brittany, Brittany was our BPS Spotlight earlier today. As we highlight beautiful people, and we chopped it up about emotional intelligence and a bunch of other great things. So let's all please say hi to Brittany. If you didn't get a chance, hey, Brittany.
Hi, Brittany.
I want to say that I have thoroughly enjoyed this. I haven't been on Clubhouse in a while. Just a lot of the work I do, I can't focus and listen at the same time.
Yeah.
But I have really enjoyed this. And who is right above me? I can't see. It says Amber, but I know you go by a different name.
Oh, okay. Oh, Dalia. Is it Dalia?
Yeah, Dalia. So I went to your Instagram and I saw you did Middle Eastern dance.
Yes.
I actually did that for several years as well. So.
Oh yeah, you. I catch your vibe. Your whole vibe is me. I really enjoy that your profile is like, oh, I'm a recovered, used to be a mess. I really relate to that. I need that in my life.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm following all of you guys now on Instagram.
Wow.
But again, I just want to thank all of you guys because this has been amazing. One thing about the game is, do you know if it's something you can play virtually or does it have to be in person?
Was that the game Sherry mentioned, or the game Dr. Shalimar? Which game?
The game of life.
Oh, the socks.
SimSock.
Yeah.
I'm sure you probably could play it virtually. Pre-COVID, they said probably not, but it's been some years since I've played it, but I would think that you could, because there's a participant's manual and a leader's manual.
I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, but it sounds similar with the whole manual thing. My husband's more into that than I am. But yeah, I think it'd be a really fun game to play.
Yeah.
And with Zoom, the way that you can do breakout rooms and things, I'm pretty sure you could create it so that you could.
Sherry, what do you think about it from just the perspective of you being in the experience of the game? Like, meaning, do you think just from being in it and feeling it that it naturally can transfer?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been out of college for, a lot of years.
Right.
And here I'm still talking about it well into my adult life, right? So it definitely had an impact.
Well, not the impact. What I'm saying is, from being in the game and playing it, like experientially being in it, do you believe that it naturally would work in a virtual environment?
Oh, yes, I do.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's why I said I think you could probably adjust it to work on a Zoom. You do need breakouts.
Okay.
So a Zoom or what's the platform that I love so much? Of course, and I can't remember it.
Oh, you're talking about the one where you had the conference tables and that kind of thing?
Yeah, yep.
Oh, and now I can't think of it. Now you're forgetting. Rubbed off on me. How the hell did that?
Oh my gosh!
It'll come back to air meat. Is it air meat?
Yes, thank you. Air meat. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, that would be a perfect setting for it. Maybe we should host one.
I've never heard of that platform before.
AirMeet is a new platform, but it's literally set up to be a virtual conference. You have conference, like round tables of 4 to 10 people that can sit at a table. There are breakout conference rooms, and there's plenary sessions. It's really a great platform. I love it.
Yeah, it really does cater to like conferences or coaching, or just different things where you want more functionality and elegance than Zoom, and you want the ability to have things like backstage, and it just, to me. Oh, and you can also do tickets inside the actual environment. So yeah, so it could be a ticketed event. It's pretty phenomenal. We did a New Year's vision board party, a 2021 vision board party through it, and it was a great experience. I was like, oh, this is much better. So you're right.
I'm signing up for it right now.
Yeah, you won't regret it. You won't regret it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a game coming. Brittany, Aaron?
Oh, what you said?
Anyone?
Yeah,
a SimSock virtual game.
Oh, it is. It is. It is. That's why I'm so fascinated with this and fascinated with this moment, because it really is like, yeah, you heard it here first. So that is so cool. So thank you for asking that question, Brittany. And yeah, Sherry, thank you so much for sharing it, because it is fascinating. So one of the things I want to do now is I want to actually perform for y'all. Oh my goodness. And guess what?
Yeah.
The Serendipity Plus Intention, because a couple weeks ago I said I was going to start doing music feature Fridays, I think it was. So yeah. Okay. So I'm going to perform Behold the Star as requested by Sherry Thompson. And so for those that are not familiar or never heard this song before, and if you want to join me live, then jump on over on FB Live or YouTube, and you can find me as I'm doing this performance. You can find me at Aaron Hill TV. So jump on over. But as I'm doing this, this song, Behold the Star, is a song that I wrote in 2013, I believe it was. And the melody is just around the idea of looking at another person and seeing the light in them, seeing the love in them, seeing them as a beautiful human being. So that's what I mean when I say behold the star. All right, so I hope y'all enjoy this. Let me fix up my microphone. Give me a second. Oh, and if you want to continue to hear this song, all you got to do is go over to my IG bio, and you'll see in my IG bio the music link. This is on the Serenade Volume 12. Serenade Volume 12.
Thank you so much.
Ooh.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh,
Wow.
I love being able to watch you two live and really see the emotion while you're playing. That's amazing.
Thank you so much. It means so much. Thank you.
I'm at work. I'm missing out.
Don't worry. You can catch it. I'm about to say you can catch it later. Oh, man.
Yeah, I needed that. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. And I thank you all as well. Whew.
Also, can I mention that I've caught my kid singing to the tones of toys.
Oh, you serious?
Yeah, she'll go.
Oh, my goodness.
We got her a little baby Einstein, like do re mi. It just goes those.
Right.
Keys.
Right.
and it has some little colors, and we've been working with that, and she's done it again. So,
that's so
who
good.
knows, maybe piano might be her instrument, and as soon as, I don't know, what's the minimum age? We on it.
Yes, let me tell you.
All the privileges.
Oh, that's so good. Yes. Let me tell you, I'm so happy to hear that, because what that reminds me of my daughter, Aria. And that's why she would be named Aria, or at least one of the reasons why she would fulfill that name. So Aria, and if you all want to see it, she's on my YouTube channel at Aaron Hill TV, on YouTube. You'll see my daughter, Aria. And when she was Luna's age, she was doing the same thing, Delia. Here's the thing. What it shows is that she has that kind of ear, and it's not just going to be for music. That's also going to help her out with problem solving and a bunch of other things. But that's a really, really good thing. My daughter was humming the songs like the one I just played. She was humming those kind of songs at that age. So that's what you want to do from here, is keep exposing her to music. What music is going to help her to do is, like I said, start to build these other neural pathways in the brain that's going to help her with problem solving. Just the fact of doing something like da 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 da, like just having a subtle place, a root note, it starts to teach you interoception, how to feel your body. It starts to teach you those sensations, and it teaches you like things like tension and release. So, yeah.
I already told you about the thing with Beethoven Symphony No. 5, how we ripples through the house.
Yes.
Yes. So
Look.
And at that time she'll start humming, and she's been doing this for a while, because we try to figure out, what song is she trying to sing? Like, and sometimes it would be something she heard at daycare, so it would take us a while to put it together. But
look, that's the greatest thing you can do. I grew up. Let me tell you. Let me give you the next level of this, and I'm grateful to my father for this. This is one of the gifts that my father gave me. So when I was coming up, he played classical music for us, like how you're doing. And he would tell us stories, and he would basically make up these stories, but he would use his imagination to get us to listen to the music and to, yep. And when I tell you, way before I even got into music, because I didn't start playing the piano. For everybody here, I did not start playing the piano until I was 19. I didn't start studying until I was 19. And then by 21, I was playing. But the reason why I was able to go so fast is because of how much exposure I got when I was a kid. So it built things up in me that I didn't even know were in me, and that they would come out through music. So when I think about what my father did there, what it did was it allowed us to actually pay attention and listen into the music in a particular way, and to look for things in the music. So all of a sudden I'm hearing strings, and I'm thinking about emotions to be attached along with that. I'm thinking about violins, I'm thinking about brass instruments, and I'm relating them to wind, like literally, because of the fact of hearing a few of those stories. So boom, you got it, Delia.
I've already seen your mom.
Yeah.
Beautiful, swag on 1,000.
Thank you.
Introduce the legend of
oh my gosh.
Type of legend, like in my mind, I just
right.
Y'all up, like just for applesauce, the music, the strings, the more dramatic songs, I've seen it.
Yes.
So you gotta hit me with the Papa legend too. Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
Yes, I got a double whammy when it comes to that. And for everybody that's here, I'm so glad you mentioned that, Delia, because I meant to mention it earlier, but it's perfect time, good as time as any. So my mom, if you look at my Instagram profile, my last couple videos. The first video that you'll see is my introduction for Brittany Nicole. You'll hear that. You'll see that as my first Instagram video. And then after that, right behind that, you're going to see my beautiful mother. You're going to see a picture that she did for me. And I was showing it and showing her. My mom is a bag of laughs, but she also is so much style. Her name is Sheryl Lawson. And if you're not connected with her already on Facebook, just go on Facebook, and you can either go to my page and you'll see her. Please, please, please see. If you think that that's Fly Delia, you got to see her Facebook post. You got to see like her pictures. My mom is 70 and flying, because when we were on the track the other day, I had to run and keep up with her on the track. And I'm in shape, God damn it. I'm like, damn.
Just that lifelong growth mentality.
Yeah. So by all means, and thank you for mentioning that. So I could highlight my mom in this experience again. And I talked about it earlier.
Oh, and you know, she looks great. I mean,
doesn't she?
It's a little ageist to assume, but you know, she looks like she's lived well.
Oh, she's growing.
She's doing her art. That's wonderful. I think I need to set that as a goal. I used to look at people who looked good for their age, and like, oh, I hope I age like that. Like, no, my goal is to constantly stay growing,
right?
Growing maturity for the rest of my life. Like, and not worry about holding on to not physically growing. That's not a goal. Like, emotional growth and the physical can just go for the ride. Like,
there you go. There you go. Now, I'm definitely feeling you on that. And yes, my mom is so vibrant. Sherry, did you enjoy Sherry? First of all, before you say anything, let me thank you for the serendipity of this moment and for giving me the direction to go, because that was perfect in the flow. I appreciate you, Sherry.
Yes, I enjoyed it. And hey, you are welcome. That was beautiful.
Thank you so much, Sherry. And I'm going to tell you, for me, it's even more special because playing that for someone, you know, when it comes to this concept of appreciation, you know, as individuals, it feels so good when you're doing something where you don't just know that it will be appreciated, you know, because it's exactly that situation, you know. So it meant a lot for me to play that and to know how much, you know, all of us would appreciate it and how much you would appreciate it, especially being, you know, a musician as well yourself. So that means a lot. Yeah, that means a lot. It means a whole lot. And did you hear your Glasper chords in there?
Yeah, as soon as you were playing it, I was like, I guess that's probably why I keyed in. Yeah. I'm really liking it because it does have that chording. Right. Which I'm learning how to do some of those chords as well.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. What's your favorite chord right now? Like, just whether it's the way that it feels under your hands or whether it's like that it's opened your mind to new possibilities. Like, what's your favorite chord?
I think so. Kind of what you had mentioned about your dad playing classical music. I was classically trained. So even though I've been playing for decades, I would say the last 5 years, I'm really learning. I think I explained how to name the chords. Right. So I think it is that minor 7/9.
Yeah.
Those are awesome.
So when you get to the 9 in the chord, that's one of the things I love about music. When you go up the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you start getting into like 9s and what we call 11 and these kind of things. You get to these real pretty chords, you know, these beautiful possibilities, right? I look at them as color, you know? Right. Yeah. And so the 9, that's one of my favorite chords there. One of my favorite chords myself.
And I was reading up on it a few years ago, where I guess you could also call the 9 a 2, or something named it a mu major, which they call it, some people call it a Steely Dan chord.
Right.
Yes. And so I remember in high school, I used to be listening in Memphis, like growing up in the 70s in Memphis. Yeah. What I realized later is that Memphis gave me a lot of exposure to gospel, blues, Southern rock, and just rock, but not a lot of exposure to jazz, which I was surprised. So that is why I think when I was a teenager listening to Steely Dan, I was intrigued because they were playing a lot of like jazz type chords, which I had never heard. And I'm thinking, what was wrong with Memphis in the 70s that we didn't have like a good jazz station? So I don't know if they've improved because I haven't lived there like since the 80s. Right. But I thought, yeah, Memphis is like the home of music, but they kind of dropped the ball on the jazz side. Right. Just wasn't really in the culture, in that part of the culture like that. Yeah, I definitely understand that. I definitely understand. Yeah. So blues, jazz, you have gospel, Southern rock. Southern rock, yeah.
Do y'all know Daryl Davis?
I think I have heard that name before. I'm trying to figure out where though.
So he played with like some of the greats, B.B. King and Jerry Lewis. But he can shred a keyboard.
Wow.
So he does blues. Check him out. I mean, it is insane how this guy plays a keyboard. And I had him on my podcast. He's also he's got a section in my book too. Yes. But aside from just being a world-renowned musician, he's also a big activist. So he's also been on the Joe Rogan show, and he was on Morgan Freeman's, what is that series Morgan Freeman did? Is it About Us, or what is it? Have y'all seen it on Netflix?
Oh, like the worm through the wormhole?
No, it's like, he interviews people around the world that are doing amazing things. But he interviewed Daryl, and what Daryl did is like, his family grew up, he was like an embassy brat. Like they worked for the U.S. Embassy. So he traveled and lived around the world. And then when he came back to the States, he was 10 years old and he was living in Maryland and he was in the Scouts. And as he was like leading the Scouts and holding the flag, he starts getting hit with debris. Oh, wow. And he was like, why do these people hate the Scouts? So then he realized that it wasn't the Scouts. It was racism. And he said that was the first time he had ever experienced it. Wow. And so he posed this question, like, how can you hate me when you don't even know me? Don't even know me. Wow. And he made his life's mission to understand. And through coming from a place of understanding, he befriended KKK members, went to their rallies. And from that, he influenced over like 300, I think, KKK members to turn in their robes and denounce hate and racism. Oh, wow. Just because he came from a place of understanding. Oh, my goodness. Wow. So check him out, like his music, but also his mission.
Wow. And you said, did you say Daryl Davis? What was it? Was it again?
Yeah, it's Daryl.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that, Brittany. I hadn't heard of him.
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah,
he's that's a sweetheart too.
That's really deep. I appreciate you sharing that. In fact, it leads me down this path of something that I'm going to share that's from my 5M concept, my 5M fellowship concept, which soon, as you all been hearing a lot about in this experience, you'll get a chance to experience the 5M experience through the form of an app that's going to be in your home screen. What is 5M? Music, movement, meditation, mindfulness, and mantra. And it will be what I call utility meets artistry. It's something that I've been doing on social media for a while, but something that now I get a chance to bring through one portal as I see my way through to what I feel is the future for all of us, is that we will have our own apps in the near future, because it'll make sense
It'll allow us to take all that we're doing on a day-to-day basis, especially when we have business products or services, or we have our personal brands or these things where we're showing up online, and where it'll remove it away from all the traffic and all the static and noise around it, so that people can really hone in to exactly what you're giving them, and it's more effective and they aren't just easily distracted. As well as it's a hub. And so you'll hear about the 5M experience very soon, very, very soon. I'm going to share something from that. The other thing too here on Clubhouse is that we do the 5M fellowship every Sunday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The 5M fellowship in those same M's, and we're here. We not only chop it up about self-care, I play the piano like how I just did, but it's geared more towards meditation and continued meditation in that way, as well as we do some mindfulness, some breathing, and that kind of thing. So I'm going to share a topic from there. Before I do, I want to say hello to D-Love Harrison, who's hanging out over here on FB. She says, good morning, King. And also Denise M. Parks says, hey, family. Hey, how are you doing? So good to see you as always. So this topic that I'm going to segue right into is based off of the conversation currently, and it's stemming even from what Brittany just mentioned, this idea of compassion. Check this out. Compassion is sympathetic pity and concern for the sufferings or misfortune of others. Sympathetic consciousness of others' distress, together with a desire to alleviate it. If someone shows kindness, caring, and a willingness to help others, they are showing compassion. This is a word for a very positive emotion that has to do with being thoughtful and decent. When you have compassion, you're putting yourself in someone else's shoes and really feeling for them. It's this ability to see pain, sorrow, or suffering of others, similar to your own. This is this first step toward compassion, seeing others as yourself, dealing with the ups and downs of life cycle. The ups and downs of life cycle. This is what we know. This is what we used to. But at the same time, until or unless you're able to see through eyes of compassion and equanimity and empathy and all these things, then you may not see others in that way, same as you. So keep your perception healthy and increase your mindfulness about others by visualizing someone who you see dealing with these various issues, and offer thoughts and phrases of loving kindness and compassion toward them. Things like, may you be happy. Things like, may you be healthy. Phrases like, you live with ease, etc., etc. Don't worry about forcing the feeling of passion or loving kindness while practicing this exercise. Just be open to it. That's all the willingness needed for the process to take effect in its own time. This isn't about fabricating an emotion or feeling. It's about paying attention in a different way in order to gradually develop your mindfulness, empathy, and compassion around others and the reality that they are dealing with. That's why I like this concept called being self-full, because we've had selfish, we've had being selfless, but this concept of being self-full is where you hold the two together. It's where you can experience and have your own feelings, while at the same time having enough space to consider others, but not forsaking your own. It's a beautiful balance and place to be. We call it equanimity. So just know this, there are many expressions and manifestations of compassion. Sometimes being quiet, outspoken, gentle, as well as stern or intense. Being open and vulnerable or setting up strong emotional boundaries sometimes is the way that you show compassion. Here's the key. The key is to always be aware of your motivations, to decipher if you're coming from a place of indifference or a place of compassion. And last but not least, and most importantly, be gentle with yourself as you continually guide yourself more and more toward actions spawned by positive motivations. And that's compassion. And that's compassion. And so what y'all think about that? Compassion is one of these things that we need to have every day. And it's one of those things I like because the only way that you develop it is by a couple ways. It's either given to you, it's even either shared with you or shown to you experientially, or you stumble upon it yourself due to, like I was talking earlier with Brittany about, due to some pivoting point, that pivotal moment where the stars align and things just change tide, like they just change their direction. But as a question, what do you think about when you think about compassion? So I'm opening up the floor. If there's anybody who would like to share this idea of compassion, what does it mean to you?
For me, as being a volunteer board member, like on several boards, one of the things that drives me is I may not, as an accountant, I can't get in the trenches and maybe help people out socially or therapeutically.
Right.
However, I can help make by making sure they're on proper financial control.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that's not like it doesn't feel directly compassionate when I think about it, just on the surface. But passion for me is doing whatever it is that I can contribute to make sure that other people can continue in that vein of compassion and assistance and helping people.
I like that. Extending compassion to help others to be able to extend compassion, or to help them where they have that space so that they can extend it to another. Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that. I so love that.
I mean, seeing those connections is a function of compassion.
Yeah.
When you can see the bigger picture and understand that, you understand what someone needs. And those people, oftentimes they don't have the same analytical brain as you. Mm-hmm. So you understand needs that they might not even realize themselves.
Yeah.
So that is compassion, very much compassion.
100%. Anyone else? This idea of compassion, definitely.
I think for me, until I was able to have self-compassion,
right,
I wasn't able to grow and extend that compassion to others, because I had too much self-hate to show love for people.
That means a lot. I have so much empathy when I hear about different stories, especially from the perspective of finding that way to self-compassion. Again, it's like I always talk about, we as human beings are like what I call the rose through the concrete garden. We're that even just in our manifestation of us communicating right now. Like, we're alive, we're here, like we survived, right? But when you add that resilience, the resilience of the human spirit, to that, finding that place of self-compassion, finding that place of self-love, that's when you see, like, I believe, like, on a whole nother imaginative level, it's like when you look out in outer space and you just see a flash of light, and it's like some big thing that just happened. That's how I feel it is in the world of a human being, where that moment happens, where we find self-love or self-compassion. And I say that more and more every day as I talk to people from all walks of life, and as I continue to study psychology, as I continue to study psychotherapy, I continue to study all the things that go to make and shape us. And I get into the experience of people who have never in life experienced love before. And I don't mean that to say like they experienced love, but maybe someone didn't do something for them or buy something. I don't mean that. I mean genuine caring love, and getting into the experience of what that feels like to not know what self-love is. I have so much empathy, and I've been learning so much that it's allowed me to understand how to support, how to be there, how to even understand that. And that's where empathy comes from. It's those breeding grounds. It's the breeding ground of understanding another person's story, getting into the experience of another person, being willing to, being able to. So I definitely understand that. We're talking about this idea of compassion. And I want to say hello to our family that also just came by. I want to say hello to Jana and hello to Clarissa. We're talking about this idea of what is compassion to you? What is compassion to you? How do you know compassion when you feel it? How do you know compassion when you see it or when you experience it? Let's all say good morning to Jana. Good morning, Jana. How are you this morning?
Good morning. Thank you so much. Good morning.
Yes. So good to see you. So good to see you. You and I, in fact, I was telling the story earlier of when I met Dr. Shalimar, who came through earlier. And I believe I met you in the same room with Dr. Shalimar around emotional intelligence. So it's so good to see you again, Jenna. Yes.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
First off, how are you? How are you today?
I'm doing all right. I woke up not too long ago, and I'm actually experiencing quite a bit of compassion from somebody right now.
Aww, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, I so love that. So that definitely, we're here talking about compassion and how gentle it is, how loving it is, how caring it is. And so I just shared about a number of things that I share in my Sunday 5M experience that I have here on Clubhouse. But without reading back through all that, I just want to especially experientially see from you, how do you see compassion? How do you recognize it when you experience it? What are your thoughts about compassion?
Is that to me or is that to everybody?
Oh yes, I'm sorry, Jana. So I opened up the floor for everyone, but right now it's for you. If you have any thoughts, or if it touches you in any kind of way, you just shared it.
Oh, I'm touched. Y'all ready for this one?
Oh yes, I'm ready. Yes.
All right. So I come from extreme complex PTSD and borderline personality disorder. Mm-hmm. And over 20 plus years, I've been able to really get it under control or whatever, and do a lot of healing and mindfulness and school of Metaphysics. I mean, just everything to help understand myself. And what it's allowed me to do over time is get into a position where at the moment, I met a gentleman that has been able to, I guess there's like some instant something that went on, but what's happening is I have never in my entire life, I shit you not, been so close to somebody.
Yes. But I know that feeling. That's beautiful.
With that comes pain, right? Because this level of touch that I've received, I've never received.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so it's really bubbling up some old trauma, and it's been quite some time since I've actually been triggered.
Yeah.
And I do, although it hurts, I do appreciate triggers because then it gives me something to work on.
Right, it brings realizations. Yes.
But but I think what I'm noticing about this is that I'm getting tired of talking about it with him. And I think it's because
the way that I've changed my entire brain is by being bold and feeling the feelings that come up and allowing them to enter my body. And, unfortunately, if people are, uncomfortable with tears, then, it's just the way my process has always had to be in order for me to even function as high as I do in this world. And I've always had kind of that outgoing personality thing, but I truly, genuinely now, without having somebody with compassion in my world, what he's having compassion for is the fact that I've never experienced this level of touch, this level of care,
this level of love.
He's compassion with my tears. He allows me to express myself. And I just asked him the other day, I said, look, I just need to ask you something. I said, please, it's really important to me for you to know that all this that I'm talking about will go away. I just have never experienced it. So there's emotions that are arising. And I said, I just need to make sure that I feel heard. And so I think the gift is that he is allowing for me to share my feelings, but I'm almost through them enough to where this won't come up anymore. And that's because I've been given the opportunity to express myself as freely as possible. And then I can grow from this. So this is temporary. And I mean, I was pretty much a badass before this. Like, as far as being bold and strong and, and I am enough, but this actually brought up some new stuff. And but this is temporary.
Let me tell you this. It's first of all, let me first start over by saying thank you so much for sharing with me. And thank you for sharing what you shared. It means a lot because I'm a person, if you look at the top of my bio, immediately at the top, my first couple of characteristics is that I'm a professional empath, I'm an avid listener, and a caring conversationalist. And the reason why is because this, for me, it feeds me to be able to share and for people to share in this way with me so that I can support them in any way I can. I appreciate what you're saying because not only is it temporary, it's actually a beautiful process. The reason why I know this process so well is because I was exactly that person that you're speaking of that's holding that compassion for you. And it was in the same type of situation, same scenario. This is not only who I've been throughout the course of my life, but this is also who I've been within some of my relationships that I've been in as well. And so I say that to say that I take pride in being that person because of the fact that what happens is my philosophy in life is that the deepest way to be able to change the experience of a human being is to give them something completely contrasting from the environment that they were in when they were in that survival environment, or when they weren't being loved, or they weren't being seen or heard, or worse, because of the fact that the only way to change the behavior is that those triggers don't go off because of the fact they're not in that survival place anymore. They don't need for those characteristics to come out. So here's the thing. It's a process, though, because of the fact that these things aren't controlled by the person. These are things that are controlled by evolution. This is what helps you to survive. It's just that when you're in other situations that are more loving, more caring, and more compassionate, it's just that you don't need those traits anymore, So because that's the case, but we still don't have direct control over just changing our feelings or changing how we are. These are neural pathways. When they blaze deep, they blaze deep. So what you have to do is just be in a situation where you're receiving the completely different perspective, the completely different energy, so that the narrative shifts because the story shifts, because the person's experience shifts. So I know how that journey can be, and I know how tough it can be from both sides. What I appreciate most is that you said the number one thing that I think is key to it is that you're working with someone who has compassion. So what that allows this person to do is to stick through and through with you and to just be there with you as you continue to flow through. But I know how it could be, and I definitely understand the process. But I'm appreciative of, at least at this point, how you all are holding each other and just having the communication to at least be understood. That helps you. For you to be able to speak like that and be heard, that helps you, for you not to be judged, and for somebody, even if it's tough for them, that they will hear you and they will try to work. That means so much, and that is a process to get used to. Here's why it feels painful at times. I thought about this a while back. It's because of the fact that when certain things have happened, when we've gone through certain kind of things in life, then those places are tender. So even when a person comes along and has love and compassion and is not trying to touch those sensitive spots or hurt those sensitive spots, it's just even touching them lightly, it hurts because of all that's there. But that's why it takes a compassionate person. So I just want to say kudos to him, kudos to you, and just kudos to where things are. No matter how they pan out, I'm glad that you all are relating in a way where you can experience something different, because I know how life-changing that is.
Yeah, thank you so much for your feedback and letting me share. I got to process a couple tears just now.
I love it. I love it.
I cannot wait, because I know this is this last little piece that has to do with mom and a few other things that I'm tapping into. So I look forward to keeping everyone updated, and I'm done sharing. Thank you.
100%. I appreciate you on that. Last thing, and again, I want to just love on you, just appreciate you, just be compassionate to you. And so I put up the reason why the first description in my bio says professional empath is because of a funny little thing in the way that I live life and the way that I value studying and learning and increasing education and knowledge and wisdom. So on my Instagram profile, I put up a picture. It just kind of has me with my eyes closed looking up, and I was playing the piano, even though you can't tell that because there's no piano in the picture. It kind of looks like I'm doing other things, if you know what I mean. Anywho, yeah. So this picture, at the bottom, you'll see the caption. It says, "I'm in school for psychotherapy, but it's to be a professional empath." And so I just say that to say to you, Jana, I'm here for you. And thank you so much for being trusting and being here with me.
Thank you so much for all that space.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Yes, yes. And on that tip, everybody, I want to say a quick refresh. I want to say good morning to the good brother Ken Delia. Hey, you good? You good?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Jana for sharing, and her experience really crystallized what I was thinking about in terms of compassion.
Yeah.
And I posted I put a comment on your Instagram.
Oh, sweet.
I said, compassion is seeing the muck of someone's full humanity without flinching, turning your nose, or turning away. And in the looking, seeing your own face in the murky waters without flinching, turning your nose, or turning away. The strength to wade into those waters and carry with you the self-compassion to not drown. So what Jana described was really finally finding that person who was able to look and really see you, Jana, in your full humanity. And you've been putting up a wall, just thinking that people would only look at you with your pretty face and your surface level. And here he said, open up, and bring me into those waters, and I can wade through them with you. And I'm so vulnerable, and I'm very happy for you that you found that partner. And in the listening, it was also on another level. I have not been pursuing my counseling. I had a counselor cancel, and I had only started the sessions. And then in the departure document, they mentioned something. And I remember that a long time ago, someone suggested that maybe I had borderline personality and some trauma responses with me. And so in the listening to you, I saw myself. So that was really a reminder that, oh, right, she's done the work and you have work to do too. So thank you so much for sharing and being that mirror. And I'm so thankful, Jana, that you have someone in your life to go through that process with. So I know it's hard. So, keep loving yourself, and thank you.
Delia, that's beautiful.
Yeah, Amber, if I can give you a little bit of feedback on that.
Yes.
Of course. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I'm an Instagram away. I actually had some free resources from the trauma that I go to. It's actually a support group, and it really shaped me into having a self-esteem, which has allowed me to get to this point, because this point hurts. And I think another thing that kind of hurts is I don't believe he's long term, and that hurts too, because I'm come from abandonment and neglect, and
I understand.
So not only am I having to or being able to receive that compassion from him, but I also have to know that this is temporary, and this is a lesson for me to learn right now. And it may not be, but I can't build that future around him because of he's giving me compassion. And this is the first time. So Amber, I'm just here to support you. And that's so powerful. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, girl, no, I'm here to support you. I'm Instagram away, and I give all kinds of unsolicited advice. But yeah, Jenna, good for you. So yeah, you've done the work. So he didn't come when you're ready to cling to someone and be codependent. So yeah, that's wonderful. So I'm really happy for you. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm grateful to you. Thank you. And Delia, thank you for sharing those thoughts. Delia, I want to actually give you something as well. Okay, first of all, thank you again with what you wrote, just by hearing that, for reminding me again why I say you're so dope. Now, I want to tell you something, Delia. You ready? You hear me, Delia? I want to give you something. All right. Can I give you something? Can I offer you something? I hear how you say you like. All right, here we go, Delia. So, and I promise, I think you'll appreciate this. Okay, it's time for you to bring Dollyisms to the forefront. Delia, are you still there, Delia? Delia. Okay, so here's what I mean. Okay, so I've checked out, your everything, so I appreciate all the things you do, and because of being an artist, because of being a producer, because of being a creative, there are certain things that just pop out. When I saw Dollyisms, when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so dope. So I'm saying that to say, in the same way that I did for myself when I started sharing my quotes, it's time for you to start sharing your writings as Dollyisms even more. Because like what you just said there, the way that you just phrased that, oh my gosh, the way that highlights compassion and expresses it in a way that allows you to get it on another level. Like you have a serious gift when it comes to words and creatively putting things together in thoughts. And like that would be something I would tell you as your creative brand and marketing coach that boom, you need to put that up like right away. And your thoughts like that. That's how I started doing my quotes. And I really, really think Dollyisms needs to come back to the front. Sorry to put you on the spot like that, but it's because I love you. I promise you. For real. Oh man, because do me one. Right. Do me one more favor, Delia, and then we. Right. Do me one more favor, and then I'm gonna jump to Brother Ken. If you can you please read what you wrote when you were inspired by that thought of compassion again? Because the way you phrased that and the way you painted that picture. So could you read that one more time, please, for me? Please. I can't get my voice real high. Please.
Maybe.
It's all right. Yes.
Okay, I'm on Instagram. Okay, it's the first one.
That's so beautiful.
Okay. Compassion is seeing the muck of someone's full potential without flinching, turning your nose or turning away. And in the looking, seeing your own reflection in the murky waters without flinching, turning your nose or turning away. The strength to wade into those waters and carry with you the self-compassion to not drown.
Goodness gracious. Dollyisms. Yo, that is okay. If y'all, you're right. Thank you, Jen. If y'all feel like I feel.
That. How do I get a copy of that?
Oh my gosh. Don't worry.
I mean, that was for me, right? That was like directed just for me.
Yes, written.
The show is how it feels like it. My friend was.
Did I write your Hallmark card for you?
You did.
Yes.
You did. And
it's so beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. And thank you, Delia. Again, I just really appreciate your gift and your craft, Delia. I think you're brilliant. Brother Ken, let's say good morning to the good brother Ken Briscoe. Thanks for being patient, bro.
No, man. Always
good morning, Ken.
Good morning. Just enjoying everything that's happening in this room this morning.
Right, bro. Oh my goodness, man. Just the moments that unfold, man, and the flow. That's why you gotta love the show, man. The AP Morning Show.
Absolutely. Couldn't start the day without it. And when I miss it, I missed out.
Right. For sure, bro.
Wind it down, brother. I just want to pop in, as always.
No doubt, man.
Show some support.
No doubt. I appreciate that, man. Here's where we round out the show, in fact, and for everyone, we'll be wrapping up in the next couple minutes. So I want to see if I can throw this at you, Brother Ken. So the question was compassion. What does it mean to you? How do you think about this concept of compassion?
That's interesting. I've always struggled with the difference between compassion and empathy. That was something I've always struggled with, right? Being able to put myself in your shoes, but then not being able to put myself in your shoes, but still being able to try and understand what you're going through, and being able to respect your journey, your hurdles, your struggles, and your pain without understanding how it was created.
Wow.
So compassion is something that I try to practice, but my only issue with compassion is it allows you to disconnect, right? So empathizing and showing compassion are two different things. So, I mean, I can show compassion, but honestly, I can kind of walk away and never check back in. Right. When I empathize, I almost take on the pain that you have, so I can really understand what you're struggling with.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think I don't empathize as much as I probably should need to, just because I can't carry everybody's pain.
The pain, yeah. That's man. Yes, I really, really do. It's this spectrum and this like influx of emotional intelligence and how all these things are needed together. The one that I didn't read, even though I read about compassion today, was right next to it is a lesson that is about burnout versus compassion, and is about really when your empathy goes to the point of burning yourself out, and then and when you want to be compassionate. So I'm resonating with what you're saying. I'm gonna read this real quick to even sum up that part. And it's compassion is not the same as empathy or altruism, though the concepts are related. While empathy refers more generally to our ability to take the perspective of and feel the emotions of another person, compassion is when those feelings and thoughts include the desire. That's interesting, because here it says compassion is when those feelings and thoughts include the desire to help. So it's almost like they took empathy and then they added onto it. Let me read this other one. So this one is can you have compassion without empathy? In fact, empathy precedes compassion. Interesting. So empathy precedes compassion. Empathy without compassion leaves the individual drained of energy as a result of feeling what the other feels. Empathy occurs immediately and leaves no emotional room between the individual and the ones who's suffering. Compassion is more cognitive in nature. So that really highlights what you're talking about, Ken. And I've never even thought about it this way, or even put these two side by side. I love this.
Man. It gives you, for me, I'm always, I'm one of those helpers, problem solvers. So that's my natural inclination. And, as much as we try to move in a natural progress or a natural format, or, something that comes easy to us, it can be counterproductive. Because, of course, you got to reserve some energy for yourself. And you can't help if you can't help yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't have no room to help you if I'm still struggling myself. So it's hard because you want to give in your gift to support others, but you also recognize you have to reserve something. So compassion is cool. It's like, okay, oh man, you're hurting. Let me do these 2 or 3 things that I know that might help you. But I'm no way digging into your story, digging into your why, because that requires me to connect at a deeper level that I may not have the reservoir of energy to pour from.
I feel you on that. But Ken, this is interesting because I love what you're saying, but it's an interesting thing. And I think this will be a good thing for us to walk away from this, think about some more. And I'm curious to I can't wait to hear what you say or how you feel. So it's interesting because everything you're saying is true, but it's interesting because this statement here is saying that basically, like I said, it says empathy precedes compassion. So it's almost like it's saying that you have empathy. It's just that you're adding compassion to it, which allows you that separation you're talking about. But in an interesting way that's different than what you're saying, it's saying that basically compassion comes out of empathy first. Like you have empathy. So what I'm wondering, I'm so curious about this. And Coco, if you're able to talk, I would love to know your thoughts about this. We just stumbled upon something I think is interesting. The difference between compassion or empathy and compassion. But Ken, here it's saying that empathy precedes compassion. So in an interesting, different way than you're saying, it's almost like it's saying, Ken, you've actually had empathy and you've just had the next level of it, which is compassion with the empathy. Because here's the other thing, right? It says, this is another definition. It says, what is the difference between compassion and empathy? Empathy is our feeling of awareness toward other people's emotions and an attempt to understand how they feel, right? And then from there, compassion by definition is the emotional response to sympathy, and it creates the desire to help. So it just sounds like what you really have achieved is the ability to have the awareness toward how other people may feel, right? And then an attempt to understand, which then has spawned your compassion, but allows you to have compassion without burnout, like I was saying in this other thing, or compassion without it coming back to hurt. Well, you get what I'm saying.
I would only say that that definition might be based in the opinion of the author, right? Yeah. So, because I, for me, and this is just me, I think there are certain things that when I see them, immediately trigger empathy because they resonate with me. They align themselves with an experience. They might even trigger me, right? So that's when maybe empathy jumps in. But I've learned that baseline, you can't help everybody. Right. When you're a people pleaser trying to help people, your trigger is to help, or your first gut is to help. Right. So once I adopted the idea that I can't help everybody, I had to be able to understand that I need to be compassionate first. Yeah. If I see you need help, or if I see you're in pain, there are things that I can do that will respond to your pain or your struggle. Right. Now, when I empathize, I put myself in your shoes, and I carry your pain. That's the only way I can understand it. I have to be able to carry it to understand it.
Well, that's that where it might be. That might be where the nuance is, because I think maybe what you're saying is you might be. This could be me. I'm not sure, but as I'm thinking about it, it sounds like what you're more so doing is saying when you empathize, then it has to be like weighty, like you have to carry it. But I almost feel it like it's just like, oh, I can imagine how that feels without you losing yourself in it. Like it could be, I guess you could say ranges, and that's what I'm wondering. Because it sounds like you just learned how to be empathetic without it weighing you down, while having self-compassion even. Like,
ask yourself this. When you say, so here's something I like to think about. When you imagine something, all of the chemical reactions, all of the emotions kick in.
They do.
That's what the imagination does. So even if you've been able to say, I can't imagine it, part of you is investing your emotional self, even if it's a small amount.
Yes.
So it could be 20 small amounts over the day, and you come home feeling drained.
Right. Or it could be one, and you just stop that shit and be like, all right.
Moving. Exactly.
Yeah. Or you stop it, but you still relate to that piece, which allows you to have compassion, but it just not go down the rabbit hole.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So fundamentally, when I look at it from a definition standpoint, whether I drop an ounce or 1,000 pounds of emotion I still invested.
Yeah.
I still invested. So
I'm feeling you.
This is my take on it.
Oh, I get it. I love this, bro. Let me tell you this. This is the last thing I'm gonna read here. And then we'll wrap it up after this for everyone. And thank y'all so much for hanging out. This is a beautiful, beautiful end to this experience. Okay, so this is I'm gonna read. I read a couple different sources, but I'm gonna read this one from something called Better Up. The difference between compassion and empathy. Compassion and empathy are fundamentally different but closely related. Consider the definitions. Empathy is our feeling of awareness toward other people's emotions and an attempt to understand how they feel. So it's almost like, again, it's stopping at the attempt. That's the empathy. So it's not how much weight, it's just your desire to or your attempt to connect in some way. And then compassion is the emotional response to sympathy, and it creates the desire to help from there. So empathy is the attempt to even care to understand. I think that's why I'm saying what I'm saying, because I think empathy may be more so defined as just that desire, that caring, and not how much weight you allow to be or how little, just the caring itself. And then from there is on you how you work with that. They're going to talk about wisdom here. I saw it in a few, wisdom with that. So compassion is the emotional response. That's the thing that creates the desire to help. And then from there, helping is helping. That's just whether you do it or not. So empathy is deeply rooted in our brains and bodies. It evokes in us the desire, again, just the desire, not to understand other people's emotions. It's so rudimentary, it's actually instinctual. This type of empathy is what psychologists refer to as a cognitive empathy. There are many reasons to practice empathy. It's good for our personal health and our relationships. The problem with empathy is the flip side that psychologists refer to as emotional empathy. And this is our yearning to not only understand people, but to feel their pain too. And that's the part you're talking about here and how it can get weighty from there. Professor of psychology at Yale University, Paul Bloom. Oh, damn. I studied, I'm actually in his course, his psychology course. He writes, recent research in neuroscience and psychology to say nothing of what we can see in our everyday lives, that's funny, shows that empathy makes us biased, tribal, and often cruel. In fact, numerous studies suggest that empathy, while well-intentioned, isn't neutral, and it can sometimes hurt more than help our relationships and our ability to lead effectively. And that's pinpointing on even what Kim was talking about. For one example, empathy is unfeasible in the long term. When we're exhausted and burned out, we're inevitably less able to give to teammates who need us most, other teammates, other people in the human race. Empathy can also make us unconsciously more sympathetic toward individuals who we relate to more. This makes us less likely to connect with people whose experiences don't mirror ours. That makes a lot of sense. Compassion. So what makes compassion different? Unlike empathy, compassion creates emotional distance from the individual and the situation we're facing. By practicing compassion, we can become more resilient and improve our overall well-being, Bloom says. Careful reasoning mixed with a more distant compassion makes the world a better place. I love that. It's no wonder that some of the greatest minds in business today are singing, if not a new tune, an evolved one, the tune of compassion. In fact, a recent study from Emory University showed that medical students whose work environments are particularly stressful and challenging can benefit greatly from compassion training, helping future doctors stay compassionate toward their patients while maintaining personal well-being and limiting their stress levels. Compassion creates emotional distance from the individual and the situation we're facing. Why compassion matters. We often blindly mirror others' emotions or assume nefarious intention. Our biases kick in even when we're being empathetic. Fred Kaufman shared a seminal piece of advice with the CEO of LinkedIn, Jeff Weiner. Wisdom without compassion is ruthless, and compassion without wisdom is folly. I like that. Wisdom without compassion is ruthless, and compassion without wisdom is folly. That's deep. That's deep. This statement had a profound effect on Weiner, who told an audience that it led him to create a personal vision statement around expanding the world's collective wisdom through compassion. It became the North Star for LinkedIn. And I'll skip this. I'll read this. Damn, this is long. God damn. Okay, let's see. This is great too, but I have to read the rest of this later. The last thing is, it just says the importance of practicing compassion and empathy. And I'll read just a few things from here. In a world of increasing certainty, The people in your teams are facing more ambiguity in day-to-day work. They also feel the pressure of keeping up with change in their personal lives. Having empathy as a starting point sets the tone for the entire team to recognize that everyone is human. Empathy in this case is acknowledging that every employee or customer has a whole life of other concerns and stresses that we might be unaware of. Practicing empathy can unlock new insights into how better to serve customers and peers. Empathy lets the leader model practices such as assuming good intentions and focusing on behaviors and actions, and this can avoid unproductive friction and maintain a better team dynamic. Now, practicing compassion is important because companies and organizations also need compatible, empowered employees working together to solve problems and identify opportunities. We can empathize with why a team member is struggling, but ultimately we still need performance. The action component of compassion takes a clear-eyed view of what a team member is doing and where they're falling short and looks for ways to help them get past struggling. Practicing compassion is an important element to being an effective servant leader. Understanding what your people need to succeed and having a desire to help them succeed is fundamental to service. Compassion and self-compassion helps leaders create an environment where growth can happen. Research has shown practicing compassion not only makes the individual happier, it creates an environment that elevates everyone around them. It's contagious in a good way. And I'm going to stop there. There's actually more, but I'm not going to read any more of this damn thing. But this is by Dr. Jacinta Jimenez, head of coaching at BetterUp. I'm never actually going to put this on my Facebook page right now. Yes, people. Okay, so on that tip, does anybody have any quick things to say about that said to you? By all means, you can as we wrap up this experience. Yes.
This is Jana. I'm having a little bit of some people I'm working with that a lot of what you said just really helped me to bring it down a notch and try to have, it's their ignorance is irritating to me.
Yeah.
But I think what I got out of this was to just have a little bit more empathy. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no doubt. And the thing I thank you for is that I think the biggest thing, and I love what Ken, I love how Ken shared his experience, because the biggest thing that I see, even in what you just displayed and even in you thinking about it, is you're first extending compassion to yourself. That's the thing I love most. Like, you're starting with yourself saying, yes, this is the truth of how I feel, and that's okay. And I'm going to try to work with it in order to, achieve this, or in order to continue with this until things change or what have you. So I appreciate that. And that's what I was hearing come from you. That's what I was hearing come from Ken. And that's what I love about this. Self-compassion and compassion in general is so important. Yes, people. So on that tip, I'm going to be compassionate to you by letting you go. So this has been a great experience. As always, AP Morning Show, we are here. I thank everybody who hung out from near and far. All my peeps everywhere, Clubhouse, Facebook, YouTube, everyone that will watch this and experience this and be in this moment as we continue to make moments like this. And so to you, I say, be compassionate to another and continue to take these thoughts and to be able to spread them and continue about your day. Know that you are loved. So as we get on out of here, the one thing I want to do, if you've ever watched the Martin Lawrence show back in the day, one of my favorite emotionally intelligent things that they did on that show was how they would come together and have a group hug. And the way they would do it is they would get in a huddle and they would all, on the count of 3, just take a deep breath and exhale. So that's how I want to end out this experience. So on the count of 3, let's all open up our microphones. Everybody, let's just have a group hug and take a deep breath. Yes, 1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness, that felt so good. Yes.
Like this anytime.
Yes.
Thanks, beautiful people. Thank you.
Oh, it's been wonderful. And don't forget to join us here, everyone, every day, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to about 10:30. And of course, over when it's good like this. So everybody, let's open up our microphones. And one last time, let's affirm each other on an amazing day today. Have a great one, everybody. Much love, much love, much love. Yes.
Thanks. Hey, Ron.
Yes. Take care now. Peace.